And actually, there's a similarity that, multiple similarities actually, that Kyrie and Ben Simmons share. One being Australian, but they also share a similarity with Russell Westbrook, James Harden themselves, so Kyrie, Ben, and Draymond Green to an extent. Do you know what that similarity is? Two similarities, I guess.
I'm waiting for it. I feel like it's something
Some
stupid,
disrespectful shit.
something
No, not at
disrespectful.
all. All four or five of those guys, how many ever I name, Ben Simmons, Draymond Green to an extent, Kyrie Irving, James Harden,
Whoa.
and Russell Westbrook, they all played with Kevin Durant, and for the most part, at some point in their career, their their ability to be a teammate has been put in question, right?
Hmm.
People are like, Ben's not a good teammate, he's sitting out. The narrative always, you're a big Kyrie guy, Seabash. The narrative always around Kyrie, especially when he was in Boston. Well, he's not a
Yeah.
good teammate. Blah, blah, blah. Russell Westbrook, we're seeing this now. We've seen this for years. James Harden, again, same narrative with him. And this is why I was saying earlier that my take or my monologue as I was starting to think for our next recording was going to be around Kevin Durant. I think low key Kevin Durant might be one of the greatest teammates of all time. If you look at those guys that he's played with, he's embraced all of them. I just watched the Nets play against the Philadelphia 76ers, and obviously, the whole issue with James Harden and Ben Simmons on their former teams finally, coming to play. And there was one moment, and this is the moment that kind of the light bulb went off for me when it came to KD. Him and Joel Embiid were going back and forth. I think Joel had knocked over KD. KD, got up, whatever, and then they got in each other's face. And I was reading KD's lips, and he said, I got Ben. It's okay. I'll take care of him. I got him. You didn't want to take care of him. You didn't want to do anything. That's okay. I'll take care of him. And it was the same thing, with a guy like Russ. Like watching his MVP, Kevin Durant's MVP speech. He made sure, like a lot of people hate on Russ. A lot of people talk shit about Russ, but like Russ is my guy. Like I couldn't do this without Russ.
Hmm.
Kyrie. This issue this year, people were talking before the James Harden stuff. People were saying, get rid of Kyrie, trade Kyrie. And KD's like, no, that's my guy. Like, I'm going to stick with him. This is my guy. I'm going to play with him. That doesn't matter if you don't want him. He's my guy. I don't need you to like him. I'll take him. So that's just my thought. That's my take. I think, KD, low key, we talk about KD jumping ship and all this stuff, even with Draymond Green, like Draymond Green's a polarizing player. Now, I
Hmm.
don't think everybody could play with Draymond, but
No.
KD was able to figure it out. Of course, they had their spats here and there, but you know what I mean. I think low key Kevin Durant might be one of the greatest teammates of all time.
I like that, and I
Mm-hmm.
do agree with you for the most part. I just can't support a guy who uses a gesture like this to call somebody little. Listen, man,
Yo,
that's kind of pause. Like, I don't know about that one. Like, you can't call another man like
I
this to say
know.
he's too small. Like,
the
listen,
low key
just do the
funniest
usual. Like, you do the hand
Yeah.
gesture, call it a day.
the low key funniest part about that, and I feel like you would appreciate it, Siavash, as being an anti French person.
All right.
KD didn't say you're too small. He's like trop petite, because Evan Fournier is French. He was like chirping him in French. He's like, you're trop petite, trop petite, and you
Same.
saw Evan Fournier kind of laugh at it, but I figured you might like that because he's like going against your hate for French people.
There ain't no hate for French people, but it's like, I don't even know if I like that. It's like, when you do that and they say something petite, like, it's like, hey, bro, I
I
don't
feel
know.
you.
It's getting too sexual.
Like a little sus,
Yeah, it's a little sus, especially on the ball court. Listen, you slapping people. Listen, let's not do that.
I feel
Keep
you.
it to yourself.
I feel you. I feel you. What's your thoughts though, Chris? Like on that take, I guess that observation that I made. Like obviously when we think of KD, we think you know, if not the one of the greatest scorers of all time.
Hmm.
But his ability as a teammate and how he embraces everybody, that never really kind of comes into the conversation. What's your thoughts on that?
No, honestly, I didn't even know that little piece about him and like Ben there and whatnot. So that's like great to hear that. Like I'm more so happy for Ben too now that he has
Hmm.
somebody who's there to support him.
Yeah,
Especially when
100%.
Joel was kind of like throwing him under the bus a little bit and like not really having his back. And same thing with Kyrie. Like there's always so much controversy around Kyrie, whether it be
Yeah.
like vaccine stuff and being a flat earther and being a bad teammate, whatever it is. It's nice that like KD has like stuck by this man. It's like, never mind this. Kyrie's my guy. Like
Yeah.
I got him, so like I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
I
It was
don't
kind of like,
respect
these
the
are my
hell out of
dogs. I'm
this,
gonna ride
but
with them. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
And these guys, these two are my dogs. Welcome if you guys are listening for the first time, or if you guys are listening for the 85th time. Welcome to the Love It Up podcast. We are your hosts, Tobias, Siavash, and Chris. Boys, how was your week? How has been your experience watching some really competitive basketball? I know we've seen a lot of high scoring. We're probably going to be talking about that as well today. But how's your week been, boys?
See, go ahead.
So I think you said Chris. Damn.
Yeah,
All right,
sorry,
I'll go
man.
ahead. I'll go ahead.
Canadian
See,
Too
stand
nice.
up.
We're all Canadians. Yeah.
Too
exactly.
nice. I got to jump in there like, what's up, guys? I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. It's a Monday. It's sunny out. I love this. You know,
Yeah,
just
true.
staying at home, not using gas. Shit too expensive.
Yeah. Fuck that,
And then
bro.
losing sleep over this, time shift. I don't know why the fuck we do this.
Right?
You gotta axe that. I swear they've been talking about like axing it for like literally years now.
Bro, I went outside at 7 o'clock last night, and I'm like, why the fuck is it still bright out? Like, it was just weird. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, why is it like this?
It's
I don't
nice,
like
and
it.
it makes me excited because now it means that basketball, outdoor basketball is around the corner. So I'm excited for that.
We get to, play ball, get our ass busted.
Ball,
Yeah.
golf. I'm excited. I'm excited about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it sounds like though, you
100%.
had like a good weekend there, see? Huh?
I did. I slept a lot of hours, and,
That's good.
got some things done. But yeah, it's not about me. Chris, how you doing, brother?
I'm not too bad. I'm doing pretty good. Just been chilling, big chilling. Not too much going on this weekend. What did I even get up to? I'm even trying to think. I feel like my weekend just went gone, flash. Done.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Like, so that's about it. Only real big update. Yeah, just watching ball. Bought myself a new Xbox, Team Xbox, and everybody out here, Team Xbox, you can
Retail
Come
therapy.
on, man. Buy yourself a jet.
buy myself a jet.
Facts, yeah.
I didn't
Catch
buy
flights,
myself a
not be like-
PlayStation. I didn't buy a jet. Because I'm actually thinking sometimes when Tobes will send videos of his 2K game, all I can hear is like,
Bro, my PS4 is literally right next to where we record. I have to like unplug it. I'm like, yo, fuck this thing. Like, it's so
Bro,
loud.
legit.
It's funny. That shit ready to take off. But yeah, no, it's been good. Good weekend. Doing good. So yeah.
So we've watched a lot of basketball this past week, and then of course, obviously, this is an NBA focused podcast, but we also have the NCAA tournament coming up. March Madness is just around the corner. Today is selection day, so by the time you're hearing this, the tournament will already be underway. I'm a Duke fan, Duke represent. I don't know if they're gonna win it all this year. I would like to see, maybe it is Coach K's last year, so it would be cool to see it, but they're in the same division as Gonzaga, and Gonzaga's got Chet Holmgren. He's gonna be probably the number one pick this year, so yeah, it's pretty dominant. So because of the NCAA tournament on its way and around the corner, we thought, we've seen a lot of different brackets. We've seen, names, worst names of all time, whether that be Karen or Chad or Adolf as the number one seed was, or we've seen, we talked about superhero brackets, the potential of a matchup between the Scarlet Witch and Superman, who would win. But the one that I think we were kind of all in agreement on that I think could go, either way. I think there's some polarizing selections there. Is cereals, breakfast cereals. Now, I'm not a big cereal guy. I definitely was as a kid. Chris, I know you're a big cereal guy. Maybe you're the biggest cereal guy in the group, but I'm excited for this bracket. So, what was the link? Where did it come from, Siavash? Came from USA Today, you said?
I believe so. It is a bracket from last year, the 2021 Ultimate Breakfast cereal bracket. And, this bracket is a little tough, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kidding. It's not tough. It's just, we all know what the easy pick is, but we're going to still go through it and make the decisions to get to the final champion, which we all kind of know who it is already. But for the fun of it, let's do it.
And this one was already filled out, and just because it was already filled out doesn't mean that we all agree with it. I know there was some blasphemy being said. This was a different bracket, but there was some blasphemy being said before the recording. Chris was potentially thinking about taking Life cereal over Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I think that's probably the worst take across any
Ever.
like venue, whether it's sports, music, ever. That's
Over
a brutal,
Siakam being
brutal take.
All-Star.
And he tries to
Okay.
go. He tries to go. Well, it depends if there's a cinnamon flavored life cereal. What? No, come on, man. Like, that's brutal. So if we look at the top left, I think a lot of the the dominant seeds will win, but we'll run through it. So Fruit Loops versus Grape Nuts. What you guys got?
Fruit.
I never even heard of grape nuts. Get her out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So
Done.
Fruit Loops
Done.
goes on. Shredded wheat versus Wheaties. This is
Wheaties.
interesting because I don't even think I've had either of them.
I think I've had shredded wheats because shredded wheats. Is that the big one? It's a big one, I think.
But they got a Pop-Tart for cereal?
I don't know. There's like
That's
these like
brutal.
I just remember having to
Come
go
on,
to my
man.
grandparents and I'd have to put so much sugar on that.
Oh,
Like,
hell no. Listen,
honestly.
DeMar DeRozan and Kyrie and LeBron have been on the Wheaties box. We're going to go with Wheaties.
So just for that, yeah, we'll just say Wheaties.
And so is Michael Jordan. So you're right.
Oh, I forgot.
Let's go with that.
The guy, yeah.
I literally only know that because I just watched Space Jam, and like I think Ian had said, a mutual friend of ours, Space Jam is basically one big marketing campaign. But the next matchup, Rice Krispies versus the 6th seed Honeycomb. Now, I'm a fan of Honeycomb. I think the problem is with Rice Krispies. I know you said, Chris, that it's very Honeycomb is very plain, but in my experience with Rice Krispies, you gotta dress it up. I need to put sugar or strawberries in it. Why?
Yeah.
So, wait,
But I
are
mean-
we making it so that you can, like, add stuff to it?
But
I would
feel
just
like-
say the product as is.
Okay.
But the Rice Krispies, so the product as is, the product is already like it's good, but you can add things to it to make it better. Whereas honeycombs, I can't add things to honeycombs to make honeycombs better.
Yeah, but why do you have to make it better? Because it's not good. That's not as good. I can
it's
take
versatile.
Honeycomb
It's
straight.
versatile. It's a versatile. Do you want a player that's only good at scoring, or do you want a player that can do it on both ends? Do you want a player that can pass, shoot, rebound, or you just want a player that can score? Let me
So
know.
you're asking if I want Lonzo Ball or LeBron?
Yeah.
LeBron, the best scorer this
Exactly.
season. Yeah.
So the Rice
Yeah, so-
Krispies, that's a versatile player right there. Can do it all, both ends. of the
Nah.
Yeah,
Lonzo's the
you're wild.
versatile player. Lonzo's the versatile player. LeBron's been focused on scoring. I'm taking Honeycombs. Give me the 16 Honeycombs. I'm taking Honeycombs.
No way, honeycomb, bro. It's Rice Krispies.
We're going
See,
Rice
nah.
deciding
Krispies.
factor.
We're
Oh,
going
Y'all
Rice
are whack.
Krispies.
You have to dress it up, bro. You have to dress it up. You're
It's a
disguising the
democracy over here,
cereal.
my brother.
Oh my God.
Disguising the cereal.
You should have
All
paid
right,
me
fuck.
for this draft.
Democracy wins, so I guess Rice Krispie goes on. Now we go to the next one. Cornflakes versus what is this? Honey
It's like
Bunches
honey
of
bunches of
Oats.
oats. I'm gonna give it to honey bunches of oats.
I'm with you. I'm
What?
with you. Why is cornflakes a
cornflakes is
second
plain.
seed? Yeah, I agree. You
I
gotta dress it up.
bad.
I'm sticking with my thing. I don't want to dress it up. I'm taking the cereal at face value. I don't need you to put on a dress. I don't need you to put on a headband, a shooting sleeve. Nah, I want my product as is.
Plus, you've got the superior flake on the other side that is frosted. Frosted flakes on the other
Facts.
side. No one's taking cornflakes with frosted.
I don't know why. I was thinking of the cornflakes of the ones that come with like the dried berries. If it's that one, I will take it over. But if it's
God,
not,
no.
if it's a
No,
plain
it's just a
one,
plain.
nah.
Yeah. Okay, so Honeycomb, a 7 seed, breaks it out of the first round. That's pretty good. Now we move down to the bottom of the bracket on the left side. We got the classic Cheerios. Nothing wrong with a Cheerios versus a Waffle Crisp. A Waffle Crisp sounds like a G League player that we've never even heard of.
Nah,
What?
Waffle
Tasty
Crisp sounds
Cheetos
better than a
better.
plain
Pause.
Cheerio.
Nah, bro. Cheerios are classic. You cannot mess with... Bro, people eat Cheerios minus the milk. They'll just snack on Cheerios.
Oh no,
Cheerios,
bro.
talk about versatility.
Waffle crisps were fucking delicious. Looking at those, I forgot what it was, but I remember that cereal. Nah, waffle crisp all day.
What are you saying,
Oh,
C? You're the
yeah.
tiebreaker here.
I haven't had waffle crisp ever. I'm gonna have to go with
Facts.
Cheerios.
So who
That's-
gives a fuck about the G League Waffle Chris? No one cares about this guy, bro. Get drafted first. Like this
That's
guy's
a get drafted.
You know what this is? This
Disrespect.
is what they did this year in the All-Star game where they added 2 G League players, and it's like literally probably 5% of NBA viewers know who this Scooter Henderson is. Like, okay, now we move on to the next bracket or the next matchup. Here we go. So now here's Chris's horny pick for life. They got a higher seed at 4 now, but they're matched up against the mini wheats.
Oh, mini wheats all day, brother.
I agree. You
Mini
get
wheats.
the frosted side, like the sugar side. You get the
Yeah.
plain side. Talk about versatility. This guy's a dual threat, right?
Okay. Mini wheats.
Okay, so that's good. A life is just getting left behind. Now we move on to the 3-6 seed, Golden Grams versus Kicks. What the fuck is Kicks?
I've never had Kicks,
I haven't had
but
either
I
of them.
vaguely remember it. I think it's similar to like, oh, it's like a corn pops kind of.
I like
Cereal.
corn pops. But what is Golden Grams? That just reminds me of
You
those
never had
Teddy
Golden
Grams.
Grams?
Those, are
Sounds
those
like
those
old
Teddies?
people cereal.
No, Golden Grams are good. They're like, think of like
He
a
is old.
Cinnamon
He is
Toast-
30, so I mean,
Think of like a
yeah.
cinnamon
old
toast
as fuck.
crunch. No, bro, Golden Grams, like there's like this like kind of cookie bar that you can make using Golden Grams, like Rice Krispies, like marshmallows and chocolate. Yo, that shit is like
Bro,
absolute.
this guy
crap.
likes Pop-Tart
Like,
cereal. Like, he's
yeah,
always like,
weird,
yo,
eh?
there's this big. It's like, bro, that doesn't fit on my spoon. Like, I need to be
No,
This guy's
I'm
got
trying to-
diabetes in a
similar,
cereal
It's similar
bowl.
in size to like cinnamon toast crunch, but it just I'm trying to think
Oh,
like
okay.
what like it tastes like a graham like a golden graham cracker like type of thing. Like it.
I'm gonna go
we
with
go
that because
neither?
my vision is those little Teddy Grams. You know what I'm talking about? They're fucking.
No, they're little square. I guarantee you, you Google a box, you'll know exactly what it is. You'll know exactly.
Let's
So
just
what?
pick
So what are we
Golden
doing
Graham
here?
and
Because
go.
I got no idea on
I'm
this one.
golden grams.
Let's just go
I would
Golden
say that
Graham.
as well.
Oh, I
that
did
as
see.
well.
Okay, right, Chris. I do know which one you're talking
Yeah,
about now.
yeah, you've seen it. The box is very
Yeah.
recognizable.
Yeah, this is gross. I'm not gonna eat that. So you go ahead.
I smell an upset. Coming up here.
No
Fruity
way.
Pebbles versus Tricks.
No way, bro.
Bro, Tricks?
Oh,
Are
that's a
you
thing.
kidding me? Tricks is for kids. That makes you feel youthful. You want to eat Tricks until you're 45 years old.
Bro, what is the
You
show
want
that the Fruity
fountain
Pebbles? Which one? Which show is it? The
Flintstones,
cartoon?
brother.
Flintstones. Yeah.
Flintstones, yeah.
Come on, man. That shit's lit. Look at the fucking font, everything. Like, come on, man.
Nah.
Flintstones is
I don't
for
know, man.
children.
I'm just
It's
not a
too,
fan
like-
of like either cereal. But
You're
if
not
I
a fan
had-
of either?
Fruity Pebbles.
No, but if I had to pick one, I think it would be Trix over Fruity
Let's
Pebbles.
We
go.
doing this?
I'm
Like I
telling you
said,
that bunny, bro.
we
And in
doing
terms
this?
of marketability,
To be fair,
white.
I have not had Fruity Pebbles in like 20 fucking years. Like it's
That's
been a long
probably a
Jesus.
good thing.
because they took it out of
Probably
stores for
why.
forever.
They did.
Yeah, it's like it was primarily like an American cereal for a while.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the
That
one
one.
thing that Trix had that absolutely slapped, they had a yogurt back in the day.
That's
Bro,
it. Yes, that's right.
That
I thought
yogurt
they did.
slapped.
Yeah.
Are we doing
Absolutely.
a cereal draft or what's going on?
Sorry, it was just nostalgia, bro.
Yeah,
I
the
saw
chocolate
Trix
bars.
and I saw the yogurt and I'm like,
Pop Tarts.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to the right side of the bracket. This guy, we're talking about, legends. We're talking about KD. We're mentioning, LeBron, Michael, a legend of the cereal game. CT Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like, we don't even need to look at the matchup. Like, that's just an easy W over Boo Berry. What? Is that just like blueberry flavored cereal? I've never had it.
Probably.
Just
It's
like
supposed to be like
berry
scary.
flavored cereal.
Boo
It's
berry.
Halloween. It's Halloween specific cereal.
Pretty much.
Now the next matchup, kind of surprised. This seed is as high as it is because I think it's a very polarizing. You know what? This cereal is the Russell Westbrook of cereal, Raisin Bran. Raisin Bran. It's like it can be very good, but you're like that. It's too inconsistent. I don't know what's going on. Versus Count Chocula. Personally,
Count Chocula.
never had Count Chocula. I would probably take it over Raisin Bran. I don't mind it, but it's too inconsistent.
We're doing this?
Man, you gotta go Count Chocula, man.
Alright, I
think
guess
so,
we're
yeah.
going with that.
Count
Why, are you
Chocula,
Raisin
bro.
Bran guy?
No, I was just gonna say we're all gonna pick a cereal we've not had over the cereal that we've had and
No,
like
I've
sometimes
had
enjoyed
Count
it.
Chocula. I've had
You
Count
have?
Chocula, bro.
Okay.
It's so fucking good. I love it. Like,
Here's the
Walmart
issue-
makes like an off-brand kind of version of it. You can get it in the big bag. So sometimes when I'm craving it, I just buy it. Like so good.
Here's the issue I have with Raisin Bran. First of all, raisins. They suck. No one actually likes raisins. But now you're pouring Raisin Bran and raisins in milk. And they get
Keeps your-
hard.
But it keeps you regular though.
Well, whatever. I don't want to be regular. I want to be different. I just don't like the raisins. They get all hard. And I'm like,
Constipated.
what is this? Yeah.
I mean, you sprinkle a
Um,
little sugar on top too.
but now you got to dress
You
it up. I
sprinkle
don't want to
sugar on
dress it up. I'm
everything,
taking
bro.
the
What's
product at
going
face
on?
Yeah,
value.
you gotta make it sweet.
All
This
right.
guy
Now
Chris
we go
just
to
be
another
sprinkling
matchup.
sugar on everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Just add a little
Diabetes
bit
in a
of
A little
bowl.
bit, a little bit.
Next matchup: Frosted Flakes, a classic, a traditional. Right? That's Tony the Tiger. Tony the
Yep.
Tiger versus Apple Jacks. Sneaky.
Yeah,
Sneaky.
that's that little cinnamon Rastaman against the
Yeah.
apple, that cranky
Yes.
apple. Bro, I don't know. I've had Apple Jacks recently, and I don't know if they've changed it or something, but like it just doesn't hit the same. The OG Apple Jacks used to be so good. I don't know if they use less cinnamon, but I'm gonna have to go Frosted Flakes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel like Apple Jacks is that player that will drop 42 for you sometimes, but then the next game is like he goes like 2 for 18 from the field. It's
So
like,
you saying he's
where?
the J.R. Smith of cereal?
Yeah, that's a solid because when you need him, you could count on him, but he also might just throw the ball away when you need to shoot the ball.
So running around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Frosted Flakes takes the W there, but I'm telling you, they're just sliding by in my opinion.
Just sliding by. No.
Yeah, because I like an Apple Jacks.
Apple Jacks.
uh,
Anything apple and cinnamon flavor is good.
Right? Now we move down to the expanded version of the old traditional, the Honey Nut Cheerio versus Corn Pops. I like a corn pop. Small town guy, ate a lot of corn, drank a lot of pop. I like corn pops. A Honey Nut Cheerio?
Yeah.
That little just drizzle of honey. Ah, so sweet.
Ooh.
Honey
It's
Nut
so
Cheerio,
sweet.
man. No
Yeah.
debate.
Again, and
I
it's one of
love-
those things that I don't even need a bowl. I don't even need some milk. I don't need a spoon. Give me Honey Nut Cheerios in a bag. Just give me the box. I'll eat it out of the box. Very,
Exactly.
very
You know what? That's how I feel like you truly know a cereal is good if you're willing to eat it dry.
facts.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
a lot of them are very dry.
Listen, man, you gotta take, eat the box similar to what Tope said with Honey Nut Cheerios. It's a good cereal.
Wow.
All right. Speaking of Lala, Cocoa Pups versus Honey Smacks. Honey Smacks. Has anybody ever had Honey Smacks before?
It's similar to like Sugar Crisp with like the little bear.
I've never
Um,
even had that.
They're okay, but for me, the only downfall is like if you can't eat that bowl of cereal within, I'm gonna say a minute, it's soggy. Like it just soaks up the milk and it's disgusting. So I'm gonna
So
have
it
to go
needs like
Cocoa
limited
Puffs.
minutes. It needs limited
Yeah.
minutes to be effective. Okay.
Exactly. You gotta eat that shit quick.
Yeah, Cocoa Puffs, no question.
Puffs. I'm not cuckoo
Yeah.
for them, but in this scenario, I'm gonna go with the best of the worst option.
Here's a
Wait,
dangerous
what?
matchup.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
go on
both.
to
they're
go on
both,
to the next one. We're
they're
not gonna
both.
stay
They're
on
both
this.
mid. They're both mid. cereal.
No way you said that.
Here.
Go on to the next
I said
matchup.
it.
We're not gonna do this
Nesquik
right
is
now.
Nesquik is the superior cocoa cereal, and the fact that it is not on this list is biased.
I will say
Cocoa
I do
Puffs.
think the seeding is very incorrect, giving Cocoa a 1 seed. I don't think
Yeah,
Cocoa
ain't
deserves
no-
it. When I'm looking at this division, nah. Wait, is there no Fruit Loops in here?
Fruit Loops, yeah, Fruit Loops is number one
Okay,
seed
true.
versus Grape
Yeah.
Nuts.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, next matchup. Sneaky matchup. Reese's Puffs versus Captain Crunch.
Bro, that's hard.
I like Captain Crunch, but as we were talking, gets stuck in your teeth, scrapes the roof of your mouth. That's tough.
know, man.
Because Reese's Pieces, sometimes too much chocolate and peanut butter is just too much. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
could
'cause
go.
I
I could double back on Captain Crunch. I might not be able to.
That's
do
the
that
thing.
with
I can go
Reese's
back to back. I can go bowl for bowl, bar for bar, spoon for spoon. Captain
Puffs.
Crunch.
Shot for
But
shot.
sometime-
Yeah.
But sometimes on the Reese's Puffs, I'm like, by the end of the bowl, I'm like, am I still even feeling this?
Hmm.
And I don't like the milk. I don't like the after milk.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
after milk or the Captain Crunch, it's a little sweet.
Little sugar. Yep.
So
I
I'm going with the
gotcha.
Captain.
I would have gone with
Sorry,
Reese's
I'm
Puffs,
sorry,
man.
Travis Scott.
I'll take an upset too. I like a Captain Crunch. I'm with you. Wow, couple upsets so far in the
Yeah,
first round.
Travis is probably at home like, oh. But no.
Um, all right, next matchup. Again, I've not had either of these. Cookie Crisp or Cocoa Pebbles. I'm assuming Cocoa Pebbles is Fruity Pebbles, but chocolate.
Chocolate. I've never
Yeah.
had Cocoa Pebbles, but I've had Cookie Crisp.
Really?
Yeah. Again, they
All
used to
right.
be like a state exclusive, like kind of cereal until they got brought over. But I don't know, like the Cookie Crisp is good, but then it's also like you expect it to taste more like a chocolate chip cookie, but it doesn't
Hmm.
quite taste like that. So honestly, I might take the risk and I might go with the Cocoa Pebbles.
Yeah, I've
So
had
it
Cocoa
doesn't live up to your
Pebbles.
expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had Cocoa Pebbles, but I've never had Cookie Crisp. So I'm just gonna go with the one I've had. It's not the best, but I'll take it.
Mhm.
So you're both taking Cocoa Pebbles?
I think so. I think
That's
this time, because again, it's just that Cookie Crisp that just
How about
has that
this? How about
artificial tasting
how
cookie.
about this? Take what you've had. You've
Mhm.
had Cocoa Pebbles, right? See?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've had Cookie Crisp. Give me the scouting report. Give me your 30-second pitch on why I should draft this player. If it was a player, give me that scouting report.
Have you
Okay.
ever just wanted to have a bowl of Chips Ahoy cookies, just break them up into a bowl, put some milk, and just eat it with a spoon?
That's pretty.
Think
I like
think
that.
of that. Think of that. But it's, non-name brand cousin. So it's
Right.
kind of
Okay.
good. It's still good. Or like if you've ever had those break time cookies, very underrated cookie, by the way. Very
No.
underrated. But it's more so like that.
Okay. See that you go, because he just hit me with a Chips Ahoy cookie. I'd like a Chips Ahoy cookie.
Listen, have you ever wanted a bowl of cereal where after 5 minutes it gets soggy and you're just eating mud, and it's better when it's dry? Go with
No,
Cocoa
I,
Pebbles.
I don't want
I've
that.
never wanted that.
Whatever's not that, we're going with. Okay. Finally, the final first round matchup: Lucky Charms versus Cocoa Krispies. Now, this sounds like it's a collab or something between Rice Krispies and Cocoa Pebbles. But is anything fucking with Lucky Charms?
No.
Nothing's fucking with
Nah.
it.
You got the marshmallow in there with the normal cereal.
Yeah, Lucky
And
Charms got the game in a chokehold.
yeah, I
That's why
agree.
she's ranked
Okay.
second seed.
All right, so now let's move on to the second round. And second round matchup, going back to the front division, we've got Fruit Loops versus Wheaties. Again, what are we talking about here?
Fruit
Loops
Loops,
is
bro.
running
Like,
this
just
up,
push
right?
it on. Push it on.
Like
No
you
question.
made the comparison before, Chris. If you desire to eat the cereal dry, it's a good cereal.
Yeah.
I would eat Fruit Loops dry.
And honestly,
So,
there is a version of Fruit Loops that has marshmallows in it. Bro, takes it up to the next level. Like
interesting.
you didn't think this player could get any better, but now they just added some like ball handling skills. And it's fucking amazing.
Well, hopefully he didn't, post videos online of him shooting, because those guys that post videos online of them shooting during the summer, because they can't shoot, and then come into the season and they still can't shoot, is irrelevant. How many hours of film? When Ben Simmons posted that video in the
Here we
summer of
go.
him shooting, how many hours of film do you think he went through to get that 30 seconds of three shots going down? That's
Ah.
all I'm saying. That's what it sounds like Wheaties might be.
We're in the playoffs now. Come on.
That's facts. That's facts. Okay, now we move on to the next matchup. So Fruit Loops took that. We got what did we say? Rice Krispies? Was that ended up happening?
Yeah.
Because
Rice
honeycomb I was
Krispies,
with,
yep.
you guys weren't.
Rice
Yeah, you
Krispies
guys
and the
are all
honey
about the
oats.
draft.
Rice Krispies beat out the honeycomb
Now
versus
Rice Krispies are versus honey bunches of oats.
ooh,
Again, I'm going
That's-
honey bunches of oats.
Bro,
That's
you guys be
tough for
thinking
me.
about Honey Nut Cheerios when you think about that cereal.
Is
There's
that the
oats
one
in
with
there.
the nuts in it though? Like the
it's
little
like the little like it's like the clusters of oats,
yeah.
right? And then just like that kind of like corn flaky cereal, but they have like it's got like a little bit of a honey flavor to it.
I used to have that when I was a kid, and every time I ate it, I felt a lot older. So I don't know if I want that cereal. It's like it makes
Sure.
me feel old. I want to have cereal when I want to feel young, like a kid. Like, oh, let me have this sugar, let me have this Cocoa Puff.
But it's so plain. Rice Krispies is so plain. You have to dress it up. Like You eat a bowl of Rice Krispies by themselves? Nah.
I just made that argument, and I'll be honest, I've not had Rice Krispies in years, so I'm just gonna have to go with
Yeah,
the
you know
better
what?
off the worst to, you know.
Yeah,
So you're
you
saying
know
Honey
what?
Bunch?
Honey
I
Bunch,
guess.
Honey Bunch. I'm just going back to like what I've had, what I've bought in the years, and I can't tell you the last time I bought a box of Rice Krispies.
Yeah, exactly. So far, besides the Wheaties pick in that first round, we're basically on par with USA Today's bracket in the first division. We got Fruit Loops and Honey Bunches of Oats, the 1 versus the 7 seed in that top half. So now we'll go to the bottom half. We took Cheerios versus Mini Wheats. Now, I did forget when we went over to the other side, I did realize, oh, there's a difference between Cheerios and Honey Nut
Yeah.
Cheerios.
Cereals are just kind of
The
plain.
plain, yeah.
Mini Wheat has an extra kick because it's got that frost, but it's also very grainy.
Nah, mini wheat all day, bro. And I
Really?
find mini wheat doesn't get soggy super fast. Like mini wheat is one of those cereals that can last in
That's
the night.
facts. You know
You
what?
know?
I might take Mini Wheats with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
fuck
the
it.
only that's the only correct choice is mini wheats. Brother. I'm sorry.
Okay, so now we go down to the bottom, and what was it? It was Golden Grams versus Tricks. Again, I'm going with what I've had. I can't speak on a player I've never seen play. I'm taking Tricks over Golden Grams.
I'm gonna have to go with Tricks as well. I don't
Oh,
know about Golden Graham.
Yeah.
this is where we're split, boys. See, again, I'd have to go with Golden Grams over that Fruity Pebble.
No, Tricks over
Tricks.
Tricks.
Over Tricks, sorry, yeah. I'd still
Still.
go Golden Gram over Tricks.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
it's a democracy, so
Yep.
Tricks.
Yeah.
All right, now we go over to this side. So now what was that? So they
Seventh
have
seed
Mini
knocking
Wheats
out
and
the
Fruity
third.
Pebbles. Fruity Pebbles was knocked out first round for us, so we got Mini Wheats and Tricks in that bottom half. Now we move over to the second round in the top right. You got obviously CT Crunch versus Count Chocula. What are we talking about here?
What are we
Are we-
talking
is-
about here?
Boys,
What are we
we're
talking about
divided.
here?
I'm giving it to the fifth seed of Count Chocula.
You're not. You are
Wildin'.
I'm
not.
giving it to the fifth seed
Wildin'.
of Count Chocula.
Nah.
Yo,
You're
I'm bringing.
canceled.
I'm gonna
Bro.
find see if
He's
there's
a
a box
hater.
of Count
This guy's a
Chocula, and I'm
hater.
bringing it to London next week, and you're gonna try it. You're gonna
No.
eat it,
No,
and
no,
you'll
no.
be like, wow, wow.
Look. Chris is the Isaiah Thomas to CT Crunch.
Facts.
MJ. This guy's
Facts.
like ready to hate. He was ready.
Yeah.
Like, no. He's like, oh, the fifth seed Count Coach. What? What is that? I've never had
Yeah,
that.
bro, come on.
You don't know. You guys
Bro,
don't
nobody
know.
knows.
You
It's
guys
so like
Nobody knows.
Count Chocolate is so one-dimensional. It's just chocolate. And you were just talking about Reese's Pieces. You were complaining about the milk and how you didn't want to drink the milk because it was too chocolate. I don't know if I'm down.
It wasn't
It's the
too
same thing with
chocolatey.
Count
It was a
Chocolate.
weird peanut butter and chocolate. No, the Count Chocolate is perfect.
CT
But-
Crunch, you got that little cinnamon kind of sprinkling around. That
You-
milk is
That's
so
too much
good
cinnamon
afterwards.
sometimes.
little
And
Henny
sometimes
in
you eat
there.
the end and it doesn't even taste like
You're
cinnamon anymore.
wild. You're
Bro,
wild, bro.
you know what?
You're actually
Again,
wild.
You know what? I should have expected this from somebody who's telling me Kobe's top 5 player. That's crazy.
That's a
Yo,
fact.
I didn't say that. I
That's
didn't
a
say that.
fact.
That's a fact.
Okay, so CT Crunch
Wow.
again, democracy. Moving on, but
Yeah,
that was wild. Count Chocula trying to make a push. Now we move down to the bottom half, or the second matchup in the top half. Frosted Flakes again, just sneaking by Apple Jacks. Frosted Flakes versus Honey Nut Cheerios. This is a heavy hitter. This is a pretty big match because Frosted Flakes, you got Tony the Tiger versus that Bumblebee
The
that's
Bee.
with Honey Nut
I don't even know what
Cheerios.
his name is. Billy. I think it's Billy the Bee, to be
It
perfectly
might
honest.
be true.
I don't know, boys. This is
Might be.
tough. This is tough because both you can eat by themselves.
I'm gonna go
My
with
mom's
Honey Nut
made
with
it.
Cheerio.
Frosted Flakes. I'm going with Frosted
Ooh.
Flakes, brother. I'm
We're
sorry.
split.
Oh,
Tobe, it's on
no.
you, baby.
Oh no.
Think of the little honey on top, bro.
Okay,
I think we'll
here's my
Frosted-
breakdown.
Frosted Flakes.
And it comes on the tail of an unfortunate set of circumstances. One time my mom made this
Oh, here we go.
this dish for dinner, and I don't know where she saw it, but I told her to never make it again. And it had like sweet potato in it, it had something else, and it had a cereal, and I was like, this is too sweet with sweet potato, and it actually made me ill. It actually made me sick. And again, if I had to take these two cereals and say, okay, Toby, you can only have one of them dry, I'm rocking with Honey Nut Cheerios because the Frosted Flakes, I'm disgusted by that.
These guys don't know
Let's
anything.
go. We're making out the bracket,
So-
baby.
These guys,
Honey
these
Nut
guys wouldn't know good
Cheerios.
cereal.
Democracy all the way.
Him in the face. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I had to consult
All right,
with
now we
that.
move to the bottom. Cocoa
This is wrong,
Puffs
Lewis.
versus Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch, baby. It's not even a
Cocoa
debate.
Puffs, bro. Come on, Cocoa
Bro.
Puffs.
I'm on Captain. I've never had Cocoa
Nice.
Puffs. I think it's overrated.
Bro, you're...
What you mean? How?
Cocoa
Wait. Did you hear what he said? I have never had it, but I think it's overrated. How do you think it's overrated when you never had it?
I think it's as a 1 seed, bro. If I'm looking at this part, Lucky Charms deserves a 1 seed over Cocoa Puffs.
Like
Bro,
Captain
Cocoa Puffs-
Crunch rated at the
Captain
50.
Crunch could get a 1 seed over Cocoa
Bro,
Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs are the shit. Dude, it doesn't get too soggy. It's kind of floating still when you.
But
eat
I'm just
the milk.
saying, if
And then
again, if
afterwards
you're
you get
looking,
chocolate
if you're
milk?
looking at the chocolate cereals, you got Cocoa Puffs and Nesquik. Nesquik is superior to Cocoa Puff in every way, and yet
You ready for
I'm
this?
not gonna
I'll go.
Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs should be out of here.
I
I'll
would
go
rather have
this far to
Nesquik, but like Cocoa Puff in this bracket, I'm taking it.
Ain't no way.
Oh.
Cocoa Puffs got like that weird fake chocolatey flavor, like it's
chalk,
you know,
like chalk.
like yeah, like
Tastes
Half
like
the
drywall.
cereals on here have the fake flavors.
like the
There's
gross,
no
like
real
those
flavors.
gross, no named chocolate eggs you get on Easter. Those are always
Yeah.
the last thing sitting in the bottom of your basket, and you're like, "Well, I'll eat this if I have to."
Yeah.
That's what the Cocoa Puffs are made out of.
No,
I would have
I'm
went as
haters.
far as to say if Cocoa Puffs was 1 seed and the Reese's Puffs was 8 seed, I would take Reese's Puffs over Cocoa Puffs.
Easily.
Wait, what? Which
Easily.
one? Oh,
If Reese's Puffs slid into that first matchup and it was 8 seed versus the Cocoa Puffs 1 seed,
well,
I
you've
would
never had Cocoa Puffs. That's what you're doing.
exactly overrated. That's why, because I said this sucks. So Captain Crunch moves on over Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
Now we get into what ended up happening with the
Cookie
last
Crisp.
one. You guys gave me the sales pitch. I can't remember who won. All I remember is Chips Ahoy.
Yeah, Cookie Crisp. Cookie Crisp.
Yeah, you want Cookie Crisps.
Cookie Crisp versus Lucky Charms.
No question.
Come on.
Lucky Charms, brother.
Lucky
Sorry.
Charms. Lucky Charms.
Sorry,
takes
it's
it.
no
Clean sweep.
debating. No debating.
30-point win.
Yeah. So we agree again with these guys for the most part. We got Lucky Charms and Captain Crunch. Up top, we got Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but we have Honey Nut Cheerios. On the other side, again, we have Fruit Loops and Honey Bunches of Oats. And then on the bottom, we have Mini Wheats and Tricks. So we're in the final 8 of the tournament.
Oh damn.
Fruit Loops versus Honey Bunches of Oats. Again, I think this
No
is an easy
question.
dub for Fruit Loops.
Man, Fruit
They're
Loops
just
has been
running
dog
over.
walking all these teams.
Yeah,
Like,
they really
ain't
got
no
lucky.
contest.
If you look at their division compared to some of these other ones, like, bro, no one is even sniffing. Like, the second seed in that division is Cornflakes. That's not
Yeah.
even a fucking. That's not even a contest.
I don't even know how. Honestly, to be fair, if you probably would have swapped Fruit Loops with Fruity Pebbles could have probably walked over half these teams too.
Oh, I thought you were saying to beat Fruit Loops.
No, like they switched places in the division. I think Fruit Loops would have a harder time in the division below, in the bracket below.
We picked Tricks first round over Fruity Pebbles. And you're saying
Facts.
that in this bracket, he's going to make it to the end?
If you're putting Fruity Pebbles up against Grape Nuts, Shredded Wheats, Wheaties, Rice Krispies, Honeycomb,
You know what? I
Cornflakes,
would no, because I would have taken Honeycomb or Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
As much as I'm dogging on them, or Honey Nut Bunches of Oats, whatever that fucking title is. I would have taken all those over Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah, I'm not a big, like, Pebble, like that whole Pebble cereal. I don't like those small cereals.
I don't like the fruity flavor of cereal. I know that Fruit Loops is all about that, but Fruit Loops does something that, like, they do it right. Fruity Pebbles is too sweet. You know what I mean? There's too much fruity flavors. All right, looking at the bottom seed, we got Mini Wheats versus Tricks. Loyola Chicago. I'm taking Tricks. I'm taking the underdog over Mini Wheats. Loyola Chicago.
Sorry, bro. I'm
I'm
going
Mary,
midi.
what her Mother Mary girl.
I'm going midi and I'm going Mini Wheats, brother.
Swing vote.
Can you-
All down to you.
You know what they say? Tricks is for kids, and if you're eating Tricks as an adult, you're a pedophile.
Chill, bro.
So I'm
Chill.
just telling you. What are you? What are you, Tobias? Tell us.
Yo, Yo, the way he did the shake, he's like, "You're a pedophile."
It's many weeks. All day.
Goes. Nah. See, Ash, don't let me be a pedophile alone here, bro.
You got Tobias eating his bowl of tricks at a playground. Hey, kids.
Yo, you're stupid.
Chris woke up today and chose violence. He said, I've got no other way to live. Like,
No, he's eating cereal at a playground. What the fuck was that? Oh my god.
oh Lord.
Alright. With what Chris has told us.
No,
There's
you
no
don't let that abusive language deter you.
It's
Let's
not
look at the
abusive
facts.
language.
Let's look
That's
at the
their
facts.
literal slogan. Tricks are for kids.
Okay, mini wheats are for fucking 70-year-olds. So
that's not the thing.
I gotta get some iron and fiber in my diet.
No way. Ain't no
Do you
way.
eat hey, Seabash, do you eat cereal to be health conscious, or do you eat cereal because it's a nice sugary cereal to get your morning started? Because if you wanted a nice, healthy, balanced breakfast, then you might as well fire up some eggs, cook some asparagus or something.
It's got the frosting on the other side. It's a good balance of not too sweet
Come
and
on,
sugary.
not enough. There's
giving you
more
enough
wheat
fuel
than
for
there
the
is
day.
frost.
Listen,
Tricks.
both of you guys are making great arguments. Again, I have to take what Chris said into consideration.
That's why, bro. You're letting it.
I'm going with tricks.
Yes, let's go.
I'm not doing no mini weeds. I don't like that whole weedy thing. It's not my thing. It's just I like tricks is like good. What did I take that?
You guys, crazy.
Wow.
I don't listen.
Loyola
What Chris has
Chicago
said,
with a run.
It does not listen. That's not us. He's joking.
That's wild.
I just like the cereal, okay?
Yeah, I just like the cereal. I don't go to the playground anyways to go even have cereal at the playground.
Oh my God.
All right. Now we're getting into a tough matchup. Again, we get into these final 8 teams, and it does get a little tough. You do have a guy like Trix that goes for a run. This is a big matchup here. 2 classics. A 1 seed versus the 2 seed, but the 2 seed would be a 1 seed literally anywhere. CT Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch versus Honey Nut Cheerios. Oh, that's tough.
So, Tope, you go ahead while Chris is muted. What is your pick out of the 2?
Oh man, it's tough because again, both of them I would eat dry. I'm taking the 2 seed. I'm going with Honey Nut Cheerios. Yeah.
You're crazy. Over the CT Crunch? No.
You had CT Crunch at last round. You had CT Crunch at last round. What are you talking about me? What do you mean?
That's my guy.
Oh, I like Count Chocula over
That's
CT
my
Crunch.
guy.
I like Count Chocula over CT
The
Crunch.
conference
You're
final.
wild. Okay, it was I was putting CT Crunch on the line versus its last competition, but now it's just going up against Honey Nut Cheerios. Honey Nut Cheerios
That's a
basic,
staple,
too
bro.
plain.
That's a
No.
staple.
Not gonna lie, trying to take Count Chocula over CD Crunch is crazy. And then not.
Wasn't.
And then calling me out for picking.
I'm just saying this. All of a sudden,
CD
this guy
Crunch
had
all
an
the
issue last round with mini wheats are too old. Like the only people eating Honey Nut Cheerios are babies
No, but
because that's
Honey
the
Nut
only thing they
Cheerios
can
so
eat,
versatile,
and old
bro.
people. That's it.
It's so versatile, bro.
That's it.
See,
I bet you.
think
I bet
about
you
when I
if you
think
threw
about
up a
Honey
poll
Nut.
and asked how many people who has a box of Honey Nut Cheerios in their cupboards right now,
A
you're
lot.
gonna get less. You're gonna get less than 10 people.
Listen,
Probably
listen,
less than
lot.
5 actually.
You know
When I
what?
think
You know what?
about
Here,
Honey
I'm
Nut
gonna play to your
Cheerios-
game. Go ahead, sorry.
When I think of Honey Nut Cheerios, I think of a little bit of honey drizzle over Honey Nut Cheerios, and it's like it's good cereal, but CD Crunch, come on, man, it's not even a question.
I agree. And again, you can't go wrong picking either one. But if I'm gonna use the logic that y'all have used for half the bracket, I can't dress up CT
Oh.
Crunch. I can dress up Honey Nut Cheerios. I could put a shooting sleeve on Honey Nut Cheerios. If CT Crunch rolls into the gym with a headband, everyone's looking at him like, "What are you doing, bro? Take the headband off."
CD
Yeah.
Crunch doesn't even need the headband, bro. It's good as
Facts.
is.
You're right.
Walks in
You're
the
right.
gym, balls out. That's all we need. Next round.
You're right. That's valid. Again, there's nothing.
Can't
No wrong
believe
pick
Tope.
there.
I thought you were with me, man. I literally
am,
once you
bro.
said
I
it,
am.
I saw Chris. I was like, no, we're gonna CD Crunch is out, and then Chris came
Nah, it would
through.
never. It would never.
Never,
It would never.
never.
Let's go.
All right, now we look at the bottom. We got again 2 classics. I think one might be able to mess around, but we got Captain Crunch. We just talked about CT Crunch, Captain Crunch versus Lucky Charms, a 2 seed versus a 5 seed. Lucky Charms being the 2 seed.
I'm gonna have to give it to Captain Crunch
Wow.
over the Charms.
Bro. Nah,
Bro,
come on. Lucky
Captain Crunch.
Charms, those little marshmallows.
The little marshmallows are good, yes, but sometimes that marshmallow to cereal ratio is off, bro. And like not every box is made
Fair.
Would rather have a
equally.
little
And
bit than
I'm
not at
having
all.
some, yeah, but I'm getting a lot of flavor every time with every bowl of Captain Crunch. It's consistent. It's the PJ Tucker of cereals. I know what I'm getting.
Well,
Night in, night out.
This
PJ
is
Tucker
bro,
also didn't shoot well in the playoffs last year. So
he didn't shoot a lot.
We're talking regular
Yeah.
season. We're not talking playoffs. We're talking regular season.
We're in the playoffs.
we're in the playoffs.
Bracket.
It's a tournament.
Talking regular season.
You know what? I'll say this. We put in our complaints and our qualms about Captain Crunch early on. The getting stuck in the teeth and the scraping of the top of the mouth. The thing with Lucky Charms is it combats that because it has that smooth marshmallow where it's like if I'm gonna scrape the top of your mouth a little, the marshmallow comes by and just says it's okay.
That's okay. But then also too,
Smooth
that
it
marshmallow is
out.
gonna get stuck on your teeth, and that's cavities. Captain Crunch, Captain Crunch.
Are we
ain't
worried
good.
about sugar and cavities
Yeah.
now? Were you adding
That's
sugar
pure-
before to the
that's
cereal?
pure sugar.
This guy was pouring sugar all over the cereal.
Yeah,
Now
fuck
he's like,
that,
yo,
bro.
At
cavities.
least I'm not
Yeah,
eating a bowl of
after
trick
CT Crunch, he's like,
friggin'
oh,
schoolyard.
they're too plain. Now it's just like whatever fits the narrative of the matchup.
Oh my god, this
Listen,
guy.
bro, we make arguments for what fits the narrative, not for what's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So I think Lucky Charms gets the dub.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we got the final 4. Fruit Loops versus the underdog Tricks coming out of the bottom half, 7 seed, versus CT Crunch and Lucky Charms. Wow. Fruit Loops versus Tricks. Listen, I think Tricks when they walked into the tournament, they looked at the board, they thought maybe we could steal a round or 2. I don't think that they thought that they could have this Cinderella run. But at the end of the day, you look at the competition around you, and Fruit Loops has absolutely dominated this bracket. I gotta go with Fruit Loops. Anybody disagree or?
No, I'm gonna have to go with Fruit Loops too, because
I thought he was gonna fuck around.
Trick shouldn't have made it as far as it made it, but
Chill.
it is what it is. Some years, some teams get lucky and they make a push.
You hit that OT buzzer beater, right?
Yeah, so
He's so
Fruit
mad.
Loops.
I wanted
Yeah.
Golden Grams.
Yeah, right?
Bro,
You
Golden
picked
Grams
all
are
the
elite.
old cereals.
They're not old. Golden Grams is literally like a
Golden Graham
child
sounds like a
cereal.
cracker for like 90-year-old.
Like yeah, because it's like a Golden Graham cracker, brother.
He's
Like when
so
he used to
inconsistent with his picks. He's like, I fucking hate old cereal. It's old for old people.
I don't hate
You
old
gotta have
cereal.
fruity cereal.
You don't gotta have no.
It's
no.
like he got to 30 and he's got like menopause. He's having hot flashes. He can't
Bro,
figure it out.
get out of here. I go with what I've had a lot of the time, and Golden Grams was superior.
Man, nah. All right, Fruit Loops in the final. Now we got that CT Crunch battle versus Lucky Charms.
Oh, yeah, you went with the Charms.
Lucky
This is
Charms
a-
versus CT Crunch.
Listen,
Again, CT Crunch has been a dominant seed in that top half of the bracket. Lucky Charms got that dual impact. I got you with the cereal, but I also got you with the marshmallow and the sweets. What are we thinking on this matchup here?
I'm gonna have to go and use one of Chris's arguments from the last round to be able to debunk this cereal and go with the goat cereal. That Lucky Charms is inconsistent, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch has always been consistent, always in my heart. The goat cereal. I'm going with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah, and I don't think we talked about versatility in terms of eating as a dry snack. Like, I can eat Lucky Charms as a dry snack, but like I got to do that scoop. I got to make sure I'm getting some marshmallows. I got to make sure I'm getting some cereal. With CT Crunch, I could take one by one by one, and I know each square is going to hit me with that cinnamon.
Wait, before we go ahead, how do you do the scoop?
Just the scoop.
Okay. Yeah,
Scoop
I'm
like
never
that.
eating cereal from your house, bro. This guy putting his hand into the box.
Yeah, I mean, you
He's
got
not
that.
doing the
That's
box like pouring the box over his hand. He's just like,
no, you got to get right in there because all the marshmallows get to the bottom. You gotta stick them out there. Give them a little tickle at the bottom of the bag.
That's
okay.
probably how Tobias eats like cereal. That's probably why he likes fucking tricks so much. His hand in the bag, mouth, sip of milk, and that's how he eats it.
I just pour the
At the
milk inside of
playground?
the box.
Just sitting on a playground bench, small box of 2% milk, just eating and drinking.
That's
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, you're fucked. You're fucked. All right, we got that final matchup again, the exact same as the bracket that USA Today had. We got Fruit Loops versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What
Okay,
are we thinking here, boys?
here. I left
I'm
my
getting,
vote. I left my this argument until the end. Because once you finish having Cinnamon Toast Crunch, we've spoke about the Cocoa Puffs milk. We've talked about other things. While you finish Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you can put a little honey in there. You got horchata. You can just drink, have a good time, start your breakfast, and start your day by drinking. Let's go, my brother. I'm going with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
is everything okay at home that you're drinking? You're immediately following up your bowl of cereal with a shot of Hennessy.
Eddie, yeah.
Come on, man. You gotta start your day right.
It's like it's 7:30 a.m. See that?
On his way to his
Who
daily
eats
commute to work.
cereal at 7:30 in the morning?
When do you eat it?
I eat at like 4 o'clock. 4 in the
A.M.?
afternoon.
Oh,
It's not even
Who
5
eats-
o'clock
That's
yet.
even worse.
That's the rule. You got to wait till 5 o'clock to start drinking, unless you're on vacation.
it's true.
You know what? I've never heard the whole honey and CT crunch milk thing. That's new to me. You know what? I'm gonna have to differ with you, see. And I'm gonna have to go with like Fruit Loops. Again, that Fruit Loops, it's consistent. It's got that just the right amount of like fruity taste. Whereas sometimes, yes, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is consistent with that cinnamon, but sometimes if I find I go back for a second bowl, I'm kind of like, it's starting to almost taste metallic-y to me now, and I don't have that. Whereas to like Fruit Loops, I get a couple bowls of that, and I'm good. So
This is the type of drama that we like to see in the bracket. You get to the final matchup, and it goes into overtime. I already had my pick when we came into this matchup, so I'm glad that we got the split.
just say it.
You guys ever have those?
I know where it's going to.
You guys
He's
ever
gonna
have
give us
those
the
mini
story, but I
boxes
know
of
where he's
cereal?
going.
You guys ever have those mini boxes of cereal? They come with
Yeah.
like Rice Krispie. I think they come with corn pops
Corn
again,
Pops,
classic.
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops. You ever seen Cinnamon Toast Crunch in those?
No, never.
So now we're talking about versatility. I've seen old people eat Fruit Loops. I've seen young people eat Fruit Loops. I've seen people have snacks of Fruit Loops in a bag.
You ever made
Again,
Rice Krispie
well,
squares out of Fruit Loops? Delicious.
I've seen people snack on Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but if you were to ask me what I've seen people snack on more, it's Fruit Loops. I feel like Fruit Loops has been around in the game a lot longer. Fruit Loops has a mascot, Toucan Sam. Fruit Loops, I don't. Has Cinnamon Toast Crunch ever given you a computer game? I got a lot of computer games from Fruit Loop cereal
Yeah,
back in the
Kellogg's.
day. Yeah,
Kellogg's,
man, they used to like fuck around and give you like computer games and shit.
Yeah.
So
we're
I'm
talking
rocking
about
with Fruit Loops.
cereal. We're talking about eating cereal, not the video games that come out
But-
of it. Because
But
Beanies
when
is
we
a
got-
2K. Like we're not gonna do that.
But when it comes to the versatility, there's just so much that it offers. I can put Fruit Loops up there at jump ball. I can put them out there with 5 seconds left on the clock. If I need a bucket, if I need to stop. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, while it has a lot of the things that Fruit Loops has, Fruit Loops has just been doing it longer. I'm taking Fruit Loops.
I just want to say, you did not make one good point out of that. You're like, Fruit Loops, everybody eats it, old people, young people. What does that have to do with you?
Versatility. I'll eat it.
Versatility,
Versatility.
that's
And he's like, it comes in
Yeah.
the Cinnamon Toast Crunch doesn't come in the small, variety pack. Yeah, because it's that good. It's never going to
Listen
come
to
with a
this
variety
too.
pack.
I also just thought of this. You're snacking on some dry Fruit Loops. That's easy. Boom, boom, boom. You're snacking on some dry CT. I got cinnamon all over my fucking hands. I need a napkin. I got to do the finger lick. Like, nah, give me the Fruit Loops, bro. Give me the Fruit Loops. Fruit
Listen, give me
Loops,
the loops.
Give me the
exactly.
fruits.
So the Loops win. Toucan Sam with the W. Again, they ran that bracket. CT Crunch ran into a few episodes. One by me
Isaiah Thomas.
that might have happened. One by Chris that might have happened. So a good run for both cereals, but yeah, Fruit Loops got the W. So that was our NCAA fruit cereal bracket or whatever. I think next week, if the tournament's still going on, we'll maybe we'll do a jersey draft. There's been still a lot of cool jerseys in the past. There's been a lot of brutal jerseys. I know one of you or both of you love that Denver fucking rainbow jersey. One of the worst jerseys
Wild,
I've ever seen in my life.
wild.
One of the worst jerseys I've ever seen in my life. Okay, so getting into the substance of the of the NBA of the current NBA landscape. I noticed something the other day. I think we were talking about it. Just kind of in passing. There's been a lot of high scoring games, and not just by the team, but by players. So, Chris, I know you looked up some of the top point scorers
Hmm.
this season. So if you could break that down, maybe tell me how many and who and the number 50-point games this season.
So right now we're sitting at what? So we're sitting at 12 players this season who have had 50-point games. Two are currently tied, with each dropping 56 points this season. And I guess it might be a little. Actually, I guess we'll have to. Oh, no, no. Durant is up there too. Okay, perfect. But, oh no, I guess they'd have to add him. Add him up, move him up again. Because what, he had 53 the other day, right? Was
KD.
Who's
it?
that? KD?
KD?
Yeah, I think he had
Yeah.
yesterday, where he called Evan Fournier low man.
Yeah, little man. Yeah. Because,
Trumpet.
well, I guess actually it's still as 12 then. He just moves up on the list now versus where he was initially. But yeah, looking at these 12 players, we have LeBron and Trey Young, who each tied with 56-point games. Then you have Tatum, who had dropped a 54-point game. And then you've got, well, I guess now it would be KD with
Yep.
his 53-point game yesterday, moving up in place of Ja Morant with a 52-point game. Kobe White, sorry, never mind.
I was like, wait, what?
You got our boy
God
Luka
damn it.
Magic, Luka Doncic, hitting with a 51-point game. I guess they labeled Tatum's other 51-point game, so then I guess we'll include Durant's first 51-point game as well. Kyrie also had a 50-piece himself. Giannis with a nice 50-piece. Embiid, Jalen Brown, and then Curry also with a 50-piece.
Jaw in there?
Yeah. The
Jaw
Jaw?
Morant?
Yeah, Jaw's
Yep.
in there. Jaw's in there with 52, just behind KD with 53. But that's insane though.
A lot of
Like,
50-point games, and it kind of like makes me question: has defense maybe slowed down a little in terms of the NBA? Like we're seeing, like again, I don't know the last time we had this many 50-point games. It seems like we're seeing them, especially lately, a lot. I think Joel Embiid is trying to compete for that scoring title. LeBron obviously is trying to compete for that scoring title. So I just want to, get your take from the games that you guys have seen. Do you feel like maybe defense has sort of taken not a back seat, but has gotten a bit more relaxed this season in terms of scoring?
I don't think so, because I feel like every season, like even if you look at like the last 5 years or something, and actually this will tie into like another question. You look like for the last 5 years, there's been games where somebody has dropped 60 points in like a game. So I wouldn't say it's that defense has been slacking. It's just that players are just able to turn it on and it just happens,
Sure.
you know? So I bet you if you were to look like back in like Jordan's era and stuff like that, there's probably if people dropped like 40 points, they're like, oh fuck, this guy went on a fucking tear. Then now somebody
Yeah.
drops 40 points, much like we were talking about the whole triple double. It's like, oh, sick, yeah, they dropped 40, cool, but kind of expected of like some players to be able to do that night in, night out. You know.
Right before you ask the question, because I know that you're gonna ask
Hmm.
something, and it's good and we create good conversation. I just quickly, because I took a screenshot on StatMuse of all the points and the minutes, because I also was interested in how many minutes played to get this, and the lowest minute total to get to 50 at least as a bare minimum was Joel Embiid playing 27 minutes, and he got 50 points against the Orlando Magic. Very
Jeez,
impressive. I know it's the Orlando
very
Magic.
impressive.
But then the next one highest or the next one lowest would be Jason Tatum, 33, 51 points in 33 minutes.
And what are those
Um,
shots? What are the
what's that?
number of shots they take to be able to
I
get
would
50?
I'd have to look that up.
And especially with the
But
free throws, that's the other thing. Like we were talking about, like is the defense getting worse? I think the pacing has been different. This is something we talked about last episode,
sure,
where the
Mhm.
pacing of the game is much higher. I think defense is still doing a good job. It's just that the teams are just able to find those little loopholes and able to get to what they need to. Like last night or yesterday, I guess, the Celtics versus the Mavs, both teams were held under 100 points.
Mhm.
So it's just, I think, different games, different teams, different defenses, as well as the pacing. It just comes down to the specific games, right?
Chris, go ahead and
Yes.
ask the question that you or the question that you wanted to pose to us.
So again, yeah, looking at this list of players and everything, like obviously there's even like other people like Jokic. Jokic was only 1 point away from making this list, scoring 49
Yeah.
points and stuff. But it's like, who do you think will be the first player to score 60 points like this season? Because again, going back the last 5 seasons, we've had a player score 60 points in a season. Do you think any of these guys have potential to break 60 points, or you just think, nah, like it's probably not going to happen this season?
I mean, there's only 10, 15 games left. I don't
Yeah,
think it's going
that's
to
the
happen
thing.
this season.
True.
Last few seasons, we've seen Bradley Beal, Kemba Walker, other guys break that 60-point mark, even Dame Lillard. But
Kemba had
at this point,
60?
I don't see it. Kemba had 60 against the Sixers with
Wow.
Jimmy Butler.
Wow, that's even more impressive.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was a good
Ooh.
game,
I
and they
don't
won
know.
that game. So yeah, I just for
Um,
me personally, I don't think it's gonna happen this season. But again, man, the only guy I would have thought it would happen with would have been Harden. But now playing with Embiid, I don't see it happening.
yeah. Thanks for bringing Harden up because I just that reminded me of something. I think if I agree with Siavash, I think in the last 15 minutes or the last 15 games, not that teams are like trying less or players are trying less, but they're trying to reserve themselves for the playoffs. So they might not
Hmm.
play as many minutes or whatnot. But if you were to ask me who, I think LeBron literally has to do
LeBron has
everything on
to,
that team.
because
Um,
it's like the Lakers are 0-7 if LeBron doesn't hasn't scored 50 plus points.
yeah.
It's
Um,
fucked.
I would say KD.
Hmm.
Just basically surely based on Kyrie not being there, he needs to be put up more points whenever Kyrie's not there. And I think there's only in the last 14 or 15 games that the Nets have, I think there's only 3 or 4. Like there's a small handful of games that Kyrie's actually available to play. A majority of these final games are at home in Brooklyn, um, where Kyrie can watch the game but not play. The other person that I might say could do it um, is a guy I was watching last night, and they just dominated the Lakers. Oh my God, they put up what 48 points in the first quarter. I'd say Devin Booker could probably drop 60. That guy is so good, man. And especially now that I've seen, because I was always questioning Devin Booker as a playmaker. He never really had to be. Obviously, before Chris Paul, he was the guy, but um, I was unsure how he would do without Chris Paul because obviously Chris does a lot of the playmaking and the facilitating, and Devin Booker stepped up. This guy's dropping 7 assists basically with Chris Paul not there, and he's still dropping 30 balls. So very impressive by Devin Booker. I think he could, maybe mess around and get 60.
I
Okay.
don't see it with Devin Booker now. I
No,
think that team is a good, well-rounded team. Before when he dropped
sure,
70 points, they needed
that's
him to
true.
actually do that. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like
he had like I think around 60 by the fourth, and like they really slowed the game down after that.
hmm Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, It's like
That's
even
fair.
going through like his past games, it's like D-Book hasn't like scored like a terribly high amount. Oh, what, he had that one game where he scored 48, and then that looking at it, I think like the next closest is like 38 points.
Yeah, but
At least
you bring up
I
a
can
good
see
point
like
though, Seabash.
Hmm?
so
You bring up a good point though, Seabash. Like he doesn't have to drop 70. He doesn't have to drop
yeah.
60, right? So he's got a lot of different options there. Like a guy that I'm a big fan of, Michael, Mikhail, Mikal, whatever his name is, Bridges. He's a very impressive player. I think he came into the league kind of as a 3-and-D guy, but he's definitely grown in this Suns organization. I think he's going to be a solid player for years to come in that Suns team. So he'll be a solid number 2 option with DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker there.
And they got him on a good contract too, man. That guy,
Very good
25
contract.
mil. He's going to be an all defensive player for years to come.
He's second in like the race right now for DPOY. Did you know that?
Really?
Is he?
Oh.
I would have thought like Giannis
Yeah.
and Gobert. Would
That's
have
what
been
I would have
up
thought.
there. Yeah.
I looked the other day because I placed a bet the other night, and unfortunately, the one time it didn't hit because they ended up blowing them out, so he didn't play in the fourth quarter. But I need him for 2, either like steals and blocks combined. I need him for 2. He only got 1 steal, but yeah, he's been a defensive beast for the Suns this year. Who would you take? We do a this or that segment from here and there. They both came into the league at the same time. The Bridges boys, not related, but Miles Bridges in Charlotte and Michael Bridges in Phoenix. I'm just gonna pick one. I'm just gonna stick to one name, and that's about it.
Mikhail.
Yeah.
Mikhail.
Who would you guys take? Because we're seeing both of them really having kind of most improved type kind of level seasons. Miles Bridges more so, I think, than his counterpart in Phoenix. But who would you take if you had a choice, Chris, between those two guys?
Mm,
They both play the same position. They're both forwards. They can shoot, dunk.
let me take a look at them real quick.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'm gonna say I've watched more of Miles Bridges than I have Mikhail Bridges. Well, that's like to say his name. Mm,
Well, while he's looking up, what about yourself,
yeah.
Sivash? Like, just off the top of your head, who do you think you would take in that scenario?
I would definitely go with Mikal Bridges. Mikal
Mhm.
is a phenomenal defender, as you mentioned. He can guard
Yeah.
the best player on every team. And I think he's going to be a versatile player. We just talked about versatility in our serial, but let's talk about that in our NBA players. This guy is a great catch and shoot player
Yeah.
off the wing. You can play him. He gets to the basket well. He can't handle the ball as well, but I think if we're able to, neither can Miles Bridges, but if we have to pick one of those guys, I'm going with Mikal just because of defensive and the 3-and-D type of player.
Yeah. I think Miles might put up more points, like points per game. I think that's maybe just because of opportunity. But I think in terms of their overall game, I would 100% agree. I would take Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, I'd agree with you guys. Like, yeah, quickly looking over this and just glancing. I think I like the all around package more. Mikhail Bridges.
The thing I like about Mikal Bridges too is he wears these very, very bright yellow shoes. So when I'm watching games, like especially if I'm like far enough away from the TV, especially if I have a bet on him or I want to pay attention to him, I'm just looking for the yellow shoes. I'm like, okay, is he on the bench? Okay, I see the shoes sitting down. So okay, he's not playing right now. But yeah. Did we have any other this or that? I know we had talked about it prior. I don't know if you came up with any that you had thought of. Obviously, there's 2 big centers that we could debate that
Let's do
they're
it.
kind of running for MVP right now. Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets versus Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. If you had to start a franchise right now, Chris, because I don't know, I feel like they're probably the same age, maybe off by a year or so. But
He was drafted the
if you had to
same year.
pick, perfect. Who would you take if you had to start a franchise right now? And you got to pick between these two. We talked about it last episode. These two Hakeem light versions of a center in this modern day era. Who are you running with? Who are you going with?
Ooh, I feel like I'm gonna cheese you guys, but
I know who he's gonna
I
pick.
who do you think I'm gonna pick?
You're gonna pick
Yeah.
Embiid because you're a Shaq fan.
Oh no, I was actually gonna pick Jokic.
Oh, let's go. All right.
Yeah, yeah, because like looking at Jokic and Jokic's game, I love Jokic's game, and I love that like he's still been doing the things he's doing while essentially carrying this Denver Nuggets team because
That's
of his
true.
injuries and whatnot. That hasn't really slowed him down. You don't hear him whining, complaining, and crying about things like that to an extent that like Embiid does. So, and for me, he just seems Jokic just seems like a little more mature out there, like on the floor, you know. So I'll have to go with Jokic. I would think I would want a franchise around Jokic.
And Steve
Big
Ash, you're a
body guy.
Jokic guy as well.
Yeah, I will have to go with Jokic. One thing Chris did mention, the maturity thing. I do like that about Jokic. He's very like down to earth. He just keeps to himself, and he just doesn't really put out a lot of stuff. Like the coach, Michael Malone, always says that hey, he doesn't have a sexy game. That's why he doesn't get the praises that he should get. And I
Hmm.
think that's where people like Embiid a lot more because they see him dominate. They see him post up, push people out the way, be all like, polarizing by screaming and, trying to annoy players.
Yeah.
But with Jokic, as, my guy Toby used to call him the milk bag, you just never saw that with him. He would just bust your ass. One thing I do love about Jokic is his passing ability. And we talked about this last week.
Oh, love his passing ability.
We talked about this last week. We can't expect every player to have everything, but I do love that about him because you can't double this guy. Anytime the help defense comes, he makes the perfect right pass, and that's why the team is sitting at a 40-28 record. I think without him, that
without
team
all
would have
those
been
dudes.
without him, I think that team would not have even beat. It would have been a lottery team without any question.
Yeah. Um, I'm glad you brought up the passing thing because that's the edge for me. That's the edge. They're so close. Like I'm going back and forth after you guys were talking because I came into the conversation. I'm like, I'd probably go Embiid, and maybe that's because I have him in fantasy, and I've seen him more this year. I've seen what he can do. Again, I was talking about it last episode. Just reminded me so much of Shaq, but he can shoot like Shaq. Like he can shoot unlike Shaq. He goes to the line 28 times. He hits 27 of his 28 free throws. Like absolutely a monster. But Jokic could do the same thing. So then I was like, okay, well that kind of cancels that out. And then they both can shoot threes. So I was like, okay, that kind of cancels that out. They both can rebound. Okay, it kind of cancels that out. But the passing again, Jokic, the ability to pass like as a playmaker, he's so good, man, so good.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that Joel Embiid can't average a triple or not average, but can't have a triple double. But if you gave me $500 and you said, okay, there's 2 games tonight, I want you to bet on a triple double. You get to pick Jokic or you get to pick Embiid. I'm taking Jokic. I just think in terms of the overall game, he does everything from scoring, rebounding, playmaking. He can obviously block shots, get steals. His efficiency is through the roof. So I gotta take Jokic. The only problem that I have with Jokic, and you mentioned it, I call him the milk bag. Not so much anymore because he has lost. I would love to see him just get into really good shape. I don't know what it is about these white European basketball players. Him and Luka, they just feel like they can come into the league and they're like, they're. It's not that they're overweight or like out of shape, but it's just like they can be in better shape. And Lucas talked about it that he worked really hard this past off season to get into shape, and he was saying like in the playoffs before or just in regular season games, by the fourth quarter, by the time that comes around, he's tired, he's gassed, because he has to fucking do everything because Kristaps Porzingis wasn't doing anything, and now he's still got to do everything. But you know, if they can both Jokic and Luka, if they can slim down, but while still keeping that muscle and that size, especially for Jokic to bully, oh my God, like imagine Jokic in Giannis's body, bro.
That'd be
What?
disgusting.
No, I wouldn't take that.
Really? You want him fucking with his no definition arms and fucking?
Bro, you care too much about that whole definition thing. Like, listen, man.
I
Like,
do.
Shaq did not have a
Too
lot of
busy looking at
definition
body.
at his prime.
But Shaq was massive though. Like Jokic is big,
Jokic
but
can
he's
be
not like.
massive. Yeah, I like, you know what it is though. If let's say another better comparison would have been if I would rather have Jokic with Embiid's body, which is this is a whole weird conversation. I don't want to have this conversation, but in that situation, I would say maybe because like with Embiid, he is a bit bigger and he can push people back a little bit better. But at the same time, again, Giannis, it's a little different because I just look at Giannis as a guy who can get through people and he's quick. And
Sure.
if Giannis wasn't as quick and as athletic, we would not be looking at Giannis the same way. There's a lot of tall players that are not as quick and not as athletic as Giannis, and that's what makes him so special. So again, it's just for me with Jokic, I like the way he plays. I think that size is to his advantage. I don't want him to get skinny. I want him to be able to push people back. Last playoffs, I saw him go against Rocco for the entire series. Every time they try to put Rocco on him, let's go. I'm going to back you down. The help defense got to come. And when they come, I'm going to make the right pass. You're going to keep having to pick and choose. Either I'm going to get a bucket or my man that's open at the corner is going to get a bucket.
Yeah,
Someone's getting a bucket.
that's valid.
Oh, I saw
So
this
obviously,
guy at the post at the left side of the court, right? He's got his back to the basket. There's a player on the other corner. The help defense starts edging over, and he just throws it over the guy's head. He doesn't even look. He just has it over there. He's ready for it. This guy's
his
too
ability
ready.
to pass is unmatched, especially as a big.
Beautiful.
Okay, so obviously those are the two like dominant centers in the league. Those are the guys that you think of like when you're talking about who's the best center in the league. Those are the two that you're debating. Who would you say is on that next tier? You can give me a selection of a couple guys, but who would you say kind of sits at that bottom tier that maybe maybe next year they can break through, or maybe they just sit at that plateau? Who do you guys have? Like obviously there's a lot of bigs in the league that are dominant, but in kind of different areas or maybe more one dimensional. Got Bam Adebayo, undersized in my opinion, but still one of the great defensive bigs in the league. You got Karl Anthony Towns claiming himself as the greatest shooting big in the league. Who do you guys have on that next tier? Who's the third best center in the league, or the
third best center?
Mm-hmm. Or in that area, they can be on that second tier. You can give me multiple people. Like, does Rudy Gobert sit there? That my issues with Rudy Gobert. So
yours.
dominant, so physical. Talk about the definition of the arms. He's got that physicality. But in terms of offense, like I'm talking a lot about sports betting. I was looking to bet on, tossing my parlay the other day. I was like, okay, I wonder how many points on average he usually gets. 10, 12. I was like, really? That's it? I was so shocked.
But
I did not think that
he
he had that
was
low.
known for his defense. That's
Exactly.
That's all it is.
But that's why I wouldn't put him as the third best center in the league.
I think Gobert
Because
is
he's only one-dimensional.
the Kemba Mutombo of today.
Good comparison.
He's about to win another defensive player.
Ben Wallace?
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it's like Ben Wallace and Mutombo are the only other people
Yeah.
with like more.
I went with
That's
Mutombo because they're
awards.
both a little bit of a character. I mean, respecting Mutombo.
Yeah, true.
Mutombo is, much more respectful player. But at the end of the day, I think those guys are in that same tier. Yes, I think Gobert it can be in that second tier. At the same time, I think he's only there for his defense. Offensively,
Yeah.
if I had to pick between Gobert and a bunch of other centers below him, I would probably not pick Gobert.
Yeah, I would probably take like Cat or Bam over Gobert.
Would you take DeAndre Ayton over
I would
Gobert?
even probably
Absolutely.
take like Vucevic too. I don't even
Look,
know.
Vooch is, and that's the thing with Gobert is that let's say Gobert was on like a $10 million, $20 million a year contract.
Sure. Yeah.
You would
value's
take it.
great.
No question,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing with a lot of these players that we talk about, like, Russell Westbrook. Would you have him for 10 million, 15 million a year? Absolutely. But when that money comes in and he's taking so much of the cap and he's expected to be treated like the all-star he is, it just takes away a lot from the team. Vooch,
Yeah.
I would rather have Vooch. I mean, already, I just imagine our team with Vooch is much better because of the spacing we create for DeMar. And if we had Gobert in that situation in the Chicago, I just don't see it happening as well as it is happening right now. You said DeAndre Ayton? No question. Let's just even put aside the, what do you call it? The potential. Man, did you
Sure.
see what DeAndre Ayton did in the playoffs last year? This guy,
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true.
incredible. I just would rather have him. I would rather have. Bro, I'm even gonna go as far as saying I would rather have another tier down. I might
I
even
might
have
even, yeah, I
somebody.
might even take like Jared Allen over. Like,
So okay, cool. So let me
Yeah.
run through because I'm looking at a few teams. We were just talking about youth, and you just mentioned Jared Allen. He's not. This guy can switch. I think he'll eventually, take over the center position. I think that's where he'll belong. Evan Mobley or Rudy Gobert.
Evan
Are we
Mobley, I
talking
think.
about like
I
for
know
the
it's his
next
first
5
year, so it's
years?
really hard to. Yeah,
Hmm.
The next 5 years, Evan Mobley, no question.
Yeah.
yeah. Robert Williams or Rudy Gobert, the Time Lord.
The time.
Robert Williams.
Interesting. Yeah, and you know me, I don't like
Yeah.
my undersized bigs, but I would probably take him. Um. Okay, I feel like I know what the answer is, but again, I'm just looking at the teams. Rudy Gobert or Kristaps Porzingis.
How much money is
Uh,
Porzingis making?
He's in the 30s. They're honestly probably similar. I bet you Kristaps makes less than Rudy,
I feel like he
like but
makes
only
less.
by like a couple mil.
Um,
I got another one after this. This one might be a little. Here's a hint. This one might be a little spicy.
I feel like it's tough because I feel like with Rudy Gobert and Kristaps are like polar opposite players. Like Kristaps is there
Sure.
offensively, whereas like he lacks a little bit defensively
But
sometimes.
but what do
But
you
then
want?
Gobert, yeah, I'm a I'm gonna take Kristaps. I think I'm gonna take Kristaps.
That's
Yeah,
I just,
wild.
yeah. I all I think about
Wow.
I'm
is,
gonna take it. I can find other players to fill the gaps where
I feel
Kristaps
you.
may be lacking,
I
yeah.
feel
but
you.
it's harder for me to find the gaps to find players where Rudy's lacking in offensively.
Yeah,
So
Are
did
you
you
taking
know?
KP as well, Sivash?
I was just gonna say, did you know Gobert has signed a? I don't know if he has signed it yet. I'm trying to find out his actual contract, but I think there's like, yeah, he's agreed to a 5 year, 205 million extension in 2020.
That's surprising
damn.
Brother,
because I thought him
this
and Donovan
guy.
Mitchell were not interested in being together.
This was at the end of 2020 as well, so it was just like, yeah. Listen, all I'm thinking about is, as Chris said, 40 million for a player who has a lot of gaps, or 33 million for Kristaps who can shoot sometimes. I don't know.
He's still
And
7'3" every single day.
yeah, all I think about is would have the what do you call it? The Mavericks been better if Gobert was on their team last year? I
Yeah,
don't know. Do you think so?
they would have. I think they would have, but that has nothing to do with those players. It has more to do with the system. Like if you had Luca and a defensive like big like that, yeah, that would have helped out.
I don't know
But
because
then
Luca needs the
again,
spacing.
we're talking about defensive player of the year. Like who was it? Um, who was it that said Anthony Edwards? I think I don't know. Someone was like Rudy Gobert only guards like two people or whatever. Okay, here's the next one. Again, like I said, little spicy. Interested to hear what you think. Rudy Gobert or Pascal Siakam?
Wow, you're fucked, eh?
What? I'm genuinely
At
asking.
the
Like I'm making a
center, at the center
just
position,
Pascal would be
yeah,
undersized,
as a
I feel, a
big,
little bit at the center.
as a big, just in general as a big.
I don't even like. I don't even want to think about it. I'm just gonna go with Gobert just for the jokes.
I just thought I'd send that out there. I was more interested to see what Chris would say.
I know, you're fucked for that. That's like when you say, would you rather have,
Shaq or
would you rather
Draymond
have
Green?
Rudy Gobert or would you rather have, your boy, what's his face, Pat Bev at the center position?
I think
He
that's a.
basically asked,
I think those are.
basically asked me that. Basically asked me that.
He will
Don't,
pick Pat
Um.
Bev.
don't play the same position. Can't.
Okay, let's stay in the East. I'm going way, way, way down to the bottom. Rudy Gobert or Isaiah Stewart of the Detroit Pistons?
Okay, just stop. Yeah, This is where it stops. It's like we're going
I know, like, what is wrong
I'm
with
just
you?
saying it.
like nah.
I'm saying in terms of his ability to do more than just defend.
See, the names that you brought up before, the reason I think we all picked those names before Rudy Gobert is a few factors. One,
I
the
got one.
contract. Two, the
Sure.
position and the way they play. I think every
Okay.
name we picked over Rudy Gobert is a player that can shoot and a player
Mhm.
that can kind of perform how he performs. And I think
Mhm.
having that ability over that, I think, again, the contract thing is a big part of it as well. But Isaiah Stewart is not even doing half of what Gobert is doing,
I feel
and he
you.
can't space the floor. That's just disrespectful, and I just think like it would not make sense.
Yeah, that's wild. That's a wild pick, Tobias.
That
I
was a
don't even
wild
know
pick.
what
That's
legend.
some LeBron.
Jaren
No,
Jackson.
he picked that because
Yeah.
LeBron. He picked that because of LeBron. When this Isaiah Stewart tried to swing on LeBron, that's why he picked that. This guy
Jaren
LeBron
Jackson
More
Jr.
LeBron
or Rudy
hate. More
Gobert.
LeBron hate. That's all it is.
Triple J or Rudy Gobert.
That's a good one.
Mm.
Because again, not contracts, but you're forecasting on potential too, right? But he's had a really good defensive year, man. Like, he's
I think
I'll
just because
probably
of the
take-
versatility, you would have to go with JJJ.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I was gonna say, just looking at it, going with that versatility, gotta go with him. Sorry, Rudy.
all right. I'll give you one more. Yusuf Nurkic. Actually, I'll give you two more. Yusuf Nurkic or Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert, come on, man.
Rudy.
Okay. And the final one. I gave
Jordan.
some
First
I-
LeBron.
I gave some time to the Raptors, and we talked about it lightly.
Chris
Nikola
Boucher?
Vucevic or Rudy Gobert.
Actually, we were already speaking about this. I said I would definitely take Vucevic. Right
Yeah.
now, for that system and that contract, I would probably take Vucevic.
So then why the fuck was Rudy Gobert an all-star?
Because
Come
he's a defensive player.
What are we
and
talking-
his stats
what are we
and
talking
his,
here?
and
What are
his
we talking
numbers are above the certain limit, and all these statisticians and all these
Yeah.
guys are just like, oh yeah, we got to pick him because he makes the team so much better on defense. He's minus this when he goes off the floor, and
See, that's turned into a Karen.
bro, that's how they
See,
sound. Because it's like, look, man, I get it. He's a great defensive player. Yes, he is the reason that they're winning, and I had him as my all-star as well. But at some point, we just got to get to, okay, who else is playing at an all-star level? Who else
I was
is
gonna say,
doing things that are, come on. Who else is doing things that
You're
are
wild.
worth the
This
all-star?
guy said, "Come
Wait,
on."
what'd he say? What'd he say?
He just threw that in
Pascal.
there.
And this guy
He
said,
just
"Come
threw that
on,
in there.
bro." Pascal was definitely playing and is still playing at all-star level right now. Guys, you guys just
You know
hate
what?
him
I was
so
thinking about this today. Julius Randle is what I thought Pascal Siakam was going to be this year. I know he had a good 50-point game this year, but Julius Randle has, after last season, has let a lot of people down in terms of expectations. And Pascal Siakam, in terms of last season, has impressed a lot of people. So I think they kind of swapped roles, and obviously they swapped positions in the standings as well.
Mhm.
All right, let's get to
Okay.
our take of the week.
So now we have gone through the tournament, we have gone through the this or that, and we've gone through the high-scoring games of this season. But we're going to bring back the take of the week, and I know that Chris has a take of the week specifically that I'm sure feels passionate about. So Chris, go ahead, start us off.
Not really
Chris.
feeling passionate about this, brother, but I was just asking, do you actually know who made NBA history this week, potentially last night, as being one of the only players in NBA history to have 10,000 rebounds and assists? I don't think it was
good.
Michael Jordan. I don't think it was Michael Jordan.
No, you're right. It
Because
wasn't.
he's
Michael was never a passer.
arguably the second greatest player to ever grace like the court. But
Relax.
it's probably like, yeah. But do you know
Relax.
though? Tobias? You watched
Yeah,
this
no,
game?
I
You
saw it. I was watching when they got
You
blown
watched
out.
it. Who was it? Who was that guy?
It was LeBron. I was watching when they got blown out.
LeBron. The greatest
By the Phoenix Suns, baby. By the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker, let's go, gang, gang.
Yeah, the guy can't do it all by himself. You see what he does. We talked about this
No.
earlier. You know, the
Yeah,
guy's
100%.
he's 37, man. Like,
Oh my
yeah,
God!
but
Shut
he's
the
still
fuck up.
No,
he's
come
Retire
on.
that.
playing
I
his heart
hate
out.
that
No,
argument.
come on.
Play,
Come on,
that is
37.
It's
argument, though.
37.
He's playing
He's
his heart
37.
out.
He's got to do everything. What do you expect? He's only 37. You only use it when it's the same
Oh,
thing as the motherfucking cereal. Well, it's for old people. You don't want old
oh
people.
my
Well, I like
God.
mini wheats, but that's for old people. It's only the narrative that you want it to fit.
You
The
did the
narrative
same
I
thing,
Again.
but
want
you
to
were
fit.
like,
The
oh, it's
narrative, the
your
narrative
Fruit
I want to
Loops.
fit is
Everybody
that's
has
why
it.
Jordan didn't leave the league to go play baseball because it's
Again,
come and wash.
I'm not taking
Just to come
anything away.
back.
I'm not taking anything
That's
away from LeBron. Like that
That's
obviously
bad.
is like a huge accomplishment. Playing that long, that with the longevity and the consistency for sure. And obviously we're seeing it this year.
Hmm.
There's literally nobody on that team. How do you have like 4 Hall of Famers on your team and
Yeah.
Malik Monk is your second best player? What? Malik Monk? I'm pretty sure you're making $2 million. Like, come on, man. That team's a joke. Of course he's got to do everything. I feel bad for LeBron. I tweeted
I
out
do.
last week or 2 weeks ago, Lakers fans don't deserve LeBron James. So yes, 100% congratulations to LeBron James. Never done before in history. Talk about versatility. Talk about touching all areas of the game. LeBron definitely does that. And he's going for the scoring title this year for sure. I think he's heard that Joel Embiid wants the scoring title. LeBron's amped up.
I
His
know they
game.
kept they back and forth. But briefly, he was leading, and then I think it's like Joel's 29.8 and LeBron's like 29.7, something like that.
And he's won it once before, but to win it again would
Mhm.
be impressive.
At 37.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, don't bring that
37.
into this, okay?
Well, we can't do the age because that's
no,
the most
let's not
that's
bring
the
age
into
overused thing,
this.
bro.
Nah, come
That's the
on.
most
Before
overused
Tobias
thing, bro.
Bayless gets all up on you and
Well,
tell you,
I
Michael
mean,
Jordan, the greatest player to
I
ever
think Mike
grace
won a
the court.
championship at 37, so we'll see if LeBron can make the playoffs. But
LeBron is going to make the playoffs.
well, I mean, he's what? I'll tell you one thing. He's very lucky. I know he was bitching about it 2 years ago, but he's very lucky
Here
that
we
the
go.
play-in tournament is a thing. Whoever fucking came up with that should be fired. Well, brother, the past 2 years you've been relying on the play-in tournament, so it's a good thing that
No,
you made
last
it.
year they were the 7th seed. It's just
I
this
know, but I'm
season.
saying but that last stretch was not very favorable to them. If they had fallen down, they would have relied on the play-in tournament. But this season, more than anything, if they end up as a 10th seed or 9th seed, they're gonna be thankful. Because again, when it comes, let's be real, when it comes to the play-in tournament, hopefully he's healthy. Like, I never want to see anybody be injured.
Mhm.
And obviously, just in terms of competition and level of excitement in the NBA, if you get in the play-in tournament and you're playing against the Lakers, that's probably not a good matchup for you. Like, if it's the Spurs or the Pelicans playing against the Lakers, I don't know. But I will
Wait,
say the
what?
irony:
What did you just say? The Spurs?
if the Pelicans or the Spurs have to play the Lakers in a play-in tournament, that might not look too good for the Pelicans or the Spurs.
Okay, all right. For a moment, I thought you said it doesn't look good for LeBron.
Yeah.
I was like,
No,
That's
no.
what I thought he said too for a second. I was like, no, there's no way Tobias.
No, because I'm saying in do or die games in a matchup, if LeBron's trying to get into the playoffs, especially to continue
Mhm.
building on his career, he's gonna be hungry. We're talking about 56-point games. He dropped 60-point game in the play-in tournament. But I was saying to Chris earlier before we recorded, the irony. If they end up playing the Pelicans in the play-in tournament, the irony behind that.
Mhm.
They trade all these pieces to get AD. Some of those pieces are still there. One of those pieces are still there. Some of the others have gone on and they're doing other things in Chicago or in Portland, like Josh Hart. The irony, if they play the Pelicans in the play-in tournament and AD's sitting on the bench, that's comics. That's absolute newspaper comics for you. So I don't know. It'll be exciting. I'm excited for the play-in tournament, obviously, and then even the irony of the Clippers playing the Minnesota Timberwolves would be funny as well. But yeah. Okay, Steve Ash, your take of the week, my man. What you got for us?
I think the conversations we have been having these past 2 weeks, as well as this episode, should, make a good case for what I'm going to say. And I really came to this realization a few days ago, just thinking about the basketball we're playing today. We do talk about the 50-point games and, how it's just not, there's a lot of them and they wasn't used to be, and there's high scoring games. I really believe we are in the golden age of basketball.
Interesting.
I can't imagine, everybody, I think would agree that the golden age has been the 90s. But
Okay.
the term golden age refers to the best times of certain things. And I think I'm not going to say the past few years, but I think this year, and I'm not sure how the future is going to be, but I think this year has been a great year. The past few
For
years, I
sure.
might discount that. COVID, the other things, and then the fouling thing, now that's off. I'm looking at basketball today. I'm like, look, there's so much talent. We look at guys that are role players, like somebody like
Mm-hmm.
Josh Hart, and the guy goes for
Yeah.
44 points. It just shows how much talent is on the basketball court. And then we talk about the actual defenses and the offenses. Everything is being played at such a high level that a team like the Pistons can be able to beat another team like the Raptors on the ninth. It's just like the amount of talent that's going on, the amount of great basketball that's going on. Every player has their position. There's a guy like Joel Embiid who can play back to the basket, and then there's a guy like Chris who can shoot from the three. There's a guy like DeMar who can shoot in the mid range, while there's other guys that are able to just go to the basket without even being able to shoot. Like Ben Simmons still has a position in this league.
Yeah.
I think we're in a golden age. I really do
That's
believe that.
that's interesting that you thought the 90s was, because if you asked me what the golden age was, if we're talking about decades, I actually would have said the 2010s. I think the 2010s, you have OKC, you had the Golden State era, you had Cleveland era, you still had some Miami era. However, you brought up a good point. The parity in the league now is similar to the parity in like a league like the NHL, maybe even the MLB. I think the parity back in the 90s was there as well. Like, of course, you see the Bulls go, but it was never like the Bulls and Houston going every single year. That's one thing that the 2010s didn't have. They didn't have parity. You're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be
LeBron.
Cleveland and Golden State,
Yeah,
but
Cleveland Golden
but
State.
but this year, 100%. Last year, like we had Phoenix and Milwaukee in the tournament. This year, or in the finals, like this year, like who is it gonna be? It could be Miami. It could be Philly. Could be Chicago. Might be the Bucks, right? In the West, could be the Suns. Might even be Golden State. Grizzlies might mess around and get in there. The Mavericks could sneak in. The Nuggets could sneak in.
Mm-hmm.
If the Lakers get fully healthy, who's to say they can't? You know what I mean? Like the parity there in the league now, 100%. I don't think we've ever seen it like this before.
Yeah, and you look at like last year. I think last four teams that were in the playoffs, each two teams in each conference, neither of them had won for over, I think, 50 years. I think the
That's true.
Atlanta was
That's
like the
true.
last
Yeah.
thing they won was in the 70s. The Bucks was in
You
the
know what?
70s.
I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like only one of them had actually won before.
I think it
Because the
was
Clippers never won. The
Milwaukee.
Phoenix Suns have never won. The Hawks have won. So maybe it was, yeah, the two out east had won before.
Well,
Yeah,
Milwaukee
'cause
had one
Milwaukee
too.
with
Yeah,
Curry. Yeah, with Curry. Yeah, like so 50% of them had never even won a championship before. Like yeah, exactly. That's pretty cool. Like that's parity. And that's something that I think the league wants, because when you have two teams going over and over and over again, people had talked about it. Well, I'll watch basketball when it comes to playoffs. Why am I going to watch the regular season? I know what's going to happen. I know it's going to end up being Cleveland Golden State in the finals. I don't need to watch. But now it's like, oh shit, like we're watching the Grizzlies climb their way up, right? Like we didn't expect them to be a second seed. We're watching Golden State kind of bounce back and forth. The Mavericks have gone on a stretch. Obviously, Chris is rooting for them to get a top four seed, right? Um, so let's look at the East, bro. Remember how horny I was for the Celtics at the start of the season, and then probably midway
Yeah.
through the season, I was like, "Oh, this fucking team's ass. This team's fucking garbage." They're the fifth seed. They've been on a roll lately, man. And Jason Tatum's just like, he's not gonna win it. Obviously, too little, too late. But he's playing like MVP level basketball, man. Like he's playing unreal. Especially a guy that is terrible efficiently shooting. He's actually stepped up his game in terms of efficiency. The Chicago Bulls were at the top. They're at 4 now. Cleveland Cavaliers, like the Brooklyn Nets are at 8. Could we see an 8 seed being in the finals? Like, you know what I mean? So 100% the parity is unmatched. My take?
yeah.
My take's all about sports betting. So if you follow me or you follow my page, you'll see that I sports bet a lot. Um, I have certain picks I go to that are like standard picks. They help me like boost up my odds and whatnot. That I'm like I usually rely on pretty heavily. Corey Kispert has been a classic for me, over 1.5 threes, very, very low key. But there's also some bets I will never make again in my life. There's players I don't touch. There's teams I don't touch because I cannot trust them. As much as you think that they're gonna do what you think they're gonna do, they're very unreliable. When Travis Scott and Lil Baby rolled up to the side to watch the game between the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers, and James Harden pulled down his pants and took a shit on the middle of the floor, I decided I will never bet on James Harden again. This guy, I really don't think gives a fuck about basketball. He brutal game. Maybe you can pull up the stat line while I'm talking. Brutal game. Didn't even seem like he was involved at all. And then probably 3 hours later on his IG story, he's boozing and drinking with Travis Scott and Lil Baby. Like, if I'm Philadelphia's brass, if I'm Daryl Morey, if I'm any of those teammates, I'm a little worried because we've seen the track record of James Harden, the issues with him going out instead of working out, he's going out to the strip clubs. His issues, you were talking, Steve Ash, about in Brooklyn, he was eating a lot or going out to all these fucking restaurants and shit like that. Like, and that's fine. But when it comes to game time and when it comes to conditioning, I need you to be going. I don't give a fuck what you do. You can, Dennis Rodman, you can go out and have a weekend in Vegas, go on an absolute bender. Mike and Scotty can come and try to collect you. But when it comes to game time in between those lines, I need you to play it at your best. James Harden's not giving me that. I'm too uncertain with him. This is a man that can drop, like we talked about, 60 points. The one guy that we think in the league that can drop a 60 point today. This guy can average a triple double. He'll get you your rebounds. He'll dish out 13 assists. He's becoming an unreliable player for me. Great talent, has all the makings to be amazing. I don't trust him.
I'm going to say something I heard on another podcast. I believe it was a Zach Lowe podcast, the Low Post. And I think this is just a great comparison. James Harden is the Karl Malone of today. He's a great scorer.
Okay.
We've seen him great. Man, I was looking at the stat. This guy has over 40 or 50 40-point games. I was trying to see where LeBron was ranking in 50-point games and 40-point games all time. Harden is just above everybody in today's league. And I'm just looking at it like, man, this guy was going crazy in Houston. Remember him having 60-point triple doubles like it was nothing. And at some point he was averaging 35 points. But every time in the playoffs, he has not been able to perform. Every time in the playoffs, he has had multiple games where he is going 2-11 in the playoffs. He's had multiple games we can think of where he choked.
Yeah.
And we know now moments where, again, against Brooklyn, he went 3 of 17 for 11 points. In a game that everybody was like, let's see it. And Kyrie was guarding him every time.
And Kyrie, like, you're like, out of us three, you're Kyrie's biggest fan. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I've never looked at Kyrie's game and been like, oh, that guy's a really good defender. But like, there was some speculation. It was from Ballsack Sports, so you never trust them. But because they always put out fake shit. But like, there was like rumors around, like, obviously the issues between Harden and Kyrie, and there was rumors that they played one-on-one and Kyrie just like locked him the fuck down. And I just watched that game and I'm just like, oh, maybe that wasn't a fake article. Like, do you look at Kyrie and, like, Chris, do you look at Kyrie and think, oh yeah, he's a great lockdown defender. Like, he's one of the best defending guards in the league.
Not like, I don't know. Yes and no, a little bit, because like, yes, he obviously does have great like defensive games and things like that. But like, he's never like first in my mind to jump out to be like, oh yeah, like Kyrie locks down people.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, like, it was Harden's first game with the Sixers.
No. He had played, because remember, he played that first game and he went off. We're like, oh, that's crazy.
He played
every team. What game did he play?
He played the Knicks, he played the Timberwolves, and then he ducked the Heat, and then he played in the Brooklyn game.
But he got acclimated. So we can't have an excuse about he wasn't into the system. Like, he was acclimated. He's played and he's had success
Yeah, the triple
in
double.
games. Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I don't
just
know.
don't think he gives a fuck.
Guy had a bad game. I wouldn't say he doesn't give a fuck. I was gonna say the guy had a bad game, and I'm not gonna hold the guy like be like, all right, guy had a bad game. Guy can't go out and like celebrate. It's like, what, you want him to sit in his room and cry because they
I do
lost
But
agree
like
with
and not
it's
do
it's
anything?
too much though. We have this all the time. Like
I do agree
the
with
whole
that.
narrative around the back half of his career has been, oh, this guy doesn't take conditioning seriously. He just would rather go. He was in Houston
But
and he's
again,
flying out to Atlanta. Like,
it's all stuff. There was like, oh, he doesn't take it seriously. He doesn't do this, doesn't do that. But I mean, he's still the top player in the league,
sure,
still doing
I
all this
agree.
stuff, right? It almost kind of ties him with the Kyrie stuff. Kyrie's a bad teammate. Kyrie's this. Kyrie's that. And it's just like you have all these other people saying Kyrie's basically garbage. When it's like, well, no, Kyrie's probably one of the top point guards in the league.
Yeah, because
Like it's
Kyrie
just
goes out and drops 50 and locks down James Harden, their best guard. James Harden
Well,
goes out,
look,
doesn't do anything, shoots 2 for whatever he said, and then puts up 11 points and is a bum. Literally, he defecated on the floor. He pooped. Like we were talking about taking poops at bars. He took a poop in front of how many people are in the Wells Fargo system? Or
we were
in
talking
Wells
on the
Fargo
mic.
Stadium.
We were on the record when we talked about that. Don't bring that up.
I know. I don't care because I'm bringing it back. I'm just saying he took a dump in front of what, probably 28,000 people. Brutal, bro. Use his beard for toilet paper.
I don't know, man. I
Oh
always
my
say
God.
people get locked up. That stuff happens. So you know what? I'm gonna say it's one game against them. And if it's a consistent thing and that continually happens, like, do they play again like later on in the season, or is that it?
No, that's it.
No,
That's it.
I hope
Okay.
they fucking play in the playoffs though. And
So
I'll
they
go
play
as
in the
far as
playoff. If they play in the playoffs, then we'll see. We'll really see.
I'll go as far as to say this. Ready? We were breaking down the trades a week ago or whatever, or last episode. Brooklyn won that trade easily. The fact that they got multiple players, like Andre Drummond's been an absolute beast for them. They
Yeah,
got
Drummond's
Seth
actually been
Curry, who's
playing
been
nice.
lighting it up. And then they got Ben Simmons, who's not even playing yet. Like, of course, he'll eventually get into the system, but he'll be there. You can count on Ben to be there, hopefully, with the system. We talked about it. Does James Harden stay in Philadelphia? I don't know. So what if he dips after this year? He had the opportunity. He could have signed his whatever 5-year extension as soon as he got in there. Why didn't he? Oh, I forgot. He said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I just wanted to get to the Philadelphia." What do you mean? It takes 5 seconds, bro. You want to stay here? No. I don't know. I'm just saying, if I'm Philadelphia, I'm a little worried. He's playing like that, and he's not signed. What am I doing? So I just traded all this stuff for nothing when I could have waited. I could have gotten, we talked about Bradley Beal. I could have gotten Damian Lillard. If he leaves, I'm pissed if I'm Philadelphia.
He's not leaving. And I think they're going to wait until Bradley Beal gets there. That is the rumor that is
That's what you
ongoing.
mentioned.
And I do want to go back to what Chris said. I do agree with him. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, why is he outside drinking or celebrating a birthday after he lost, right?
And that's not what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm just
Yeah.
saying I'm looking at the consistency of this happening. I'm just like,
And that's what I want to go back to. It's not one game. We've seen this happen. This is the game that they were supposed to make a statement. And as Tobias said, he took a shit at the corral. So it just doesn't make sense. It just, if you're the Sixers brass, you are worried about this. You're like, okay, how is this going to play out? How is Doc Rivers not making adjustments with this? Kyrie is
well,
not the
that's
best
the other
defender.
problem.
Kyrie's not
Doc
the best
Rivers
defender.
so too. Doc Rivers just picks a fucking play and runs the same play the entire
Doc
game.
Rivers
does.
He
Rivers
does not
threw him the
make
toilet
adjustments.
paper. Doc Rivers threw him the toilet paper. He said, "Go ahead, James. I'm not going to change anything, so you can just take a dump there anyways. I could give you a bathroom, but I'm not going to bother because I don't change schemes at all. I just let from the minute the ball goes up in the air, I stick with the same fucking thing." Watch the Sixers lose again this year and Doc Rivers get fired.
He has to. No way they would.
What a
keep him.
fucking bum, eh? Like, come on.
No.
Like,
do wanna go
and
back
I
to
was a
something,
huge
though.
Doc Rivers. Sorry, go ahead. I'm going to go off, so go ahead.
I do want to go back to something. Kyrie is not the best defender, but he's a very sneaky defender. I've seen Kyrie get steals where I'm like, man, this guy's locking down. I think he kind of, I'm not going to say lockdown, but he kind of bothered Steph in that 2016 finals.
Sure.
And that 2016 or 2015 finals, he wasn't playing, but I think that first game, he did a really good job. But let's go back to Doc Rivers. 2015, they ran against the Houston Rockets, where James Harden was sitting there, as they were about to lose the game 5 or game 6, and the guy Josh Smith, and Corey Brewer came out and bust the Clippers' ass, and Doc Rivers did nothing about it.
Exactly.
That's
Because he's a bum, bro.
That was 1-3-1 lead that he lost. Then he lost another one in the bubble to the milk bag and Jamal Murray.
And I was the crazy person to say it was Doc. Like, of course, when you win as a team. When you lose as a team. I've always had that mindset. But if your coach ain't helping you, you're kind of behind the 8 ball. And I was a big Doc Rivers fan. I loved when the Clippers got him. I was so excited. I was like, this guy's like one of the best coaches in the league. But when you look at his track record, what the fuck did he do? He won a championship with the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo. Yeah, that was a fucking early on super team. Like, no doubt he did. And that was in the East. And traditionally, the East has always been weaker than the West. Well, now he comes to the West. I can't do anything with the Clippers. Fuck. Doesn't change anything. Talk about this or that. Ty Lue or fucking Doc Rivers. I'm taking Ty Lue. Let's go, baby. One of the most underrated coaches in the league. No, I wouldn't say underrated. I think he gets his respect, but
yeah, I think it's still a little bit underrated. I think if you ask somebody who would be like top 5 coaches in the league, Ty Lue might not make it for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just as like we were talking about switches and stuff with Doc Rivers, just Ty Lue's ability to just read what's going on, see that shit's not working, like. And this is not a new thing, unfortunately, as a Clippers fan. But the Clippers this season are the best fourth quarter team in the league. Terrible that they have to be the best fourth quarter team in the league, because it puts my heart, in overdrive. I was talking about sports betting. I was betting for our friend Eric. We had a bet on the Clippers, and he's like, I've never watched a Clippers game before. He's like, this is the first time I've been a fan of the Clippers because I want them to win. I'm cheering for them. He's like, I don't know how you do it. He's like, they were down by like 28 and they came back and won, but it was just like, I don't know how you do it. Like, that's too tough. Yeah, it's brutal, bro. But again, credit to Tyler. Anyways, James Harden, Ty Lue, fuck them all.
Ty Lue?
Unless we have any more. What's that?
You said James Harden and Ty Lue, fuck them all.
My bad. Rivers. James Harden, Doc Rivers. Fuck them all. Unless you have any other takes of the week or anything we want to touch on before we end this, we'll wrap it up. Thanks again for listening. We are the Lob It Up Podcast. We are your hosts, Tobias, Chris, and Siabash, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.